The Zed to Zed Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Zed to Zed Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Freeman. Thank you so much for listening. At Zed to Zed, we love gaming, and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining Gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. Well, Time Magazine gets us going with a list of the greatest games of all time, while special guest Proulx shares his ridiculous Elite controller story. Crandy continues his battle with six-legged vermin, while Damien eagerly anticipates his new baby. Me? Well, I pulled another Fream this week, and as I gear up for the calm of the storm in September. You can find show notes for this show, as well as previous shows, on our website, zed2zed.com. This is episode 37. You can also contact us with questions or comments on Twitter, at Zed2Zed, ZEDTOZED, over at our forums, discourse.zed2zed.com, or email us directly, contact@zed2zed.com. Today's show was brought to you by the achievement Billionaire from the game Prominence Poker. And as the name suggests, you are tasked with accumulating $1 billion in your bankroll. Well, the most logical way to accumulate that much wealth is to be amazing at poker and win high roller tournament after high roller tournament. While I don't know how many you'd need, I can only assume it's going to be a lot. Alternatively, you could buy chip packs to supplement your bankroll. The cheapest option is $1, getting you 10,000 chips, but if you want to be more efficient with your purchases, you can spend $100 and get 2 million chips. Of course, you would need to buy that 500 times, which puts you out of pocket roughly $50,000. Better start checking those couch cushions. And if yours are empty, head over to Bill Gates' house. Special thanks to developer Pipeworks and publisher 505 Games for the new, most expensive achievement on Xbox. And if you, our fantastic listeners, have a suggestion for an achievement sponsor, let us know. Contact us at Twitter, at Zed2Zed, over at our forums, discourse.zed2zed.com, email contact@zed2zed.com, or, you could even put it in a podcast review post. So, before we get into introducing my co-host, let's do a quick little recap on some of the intro stuff like I've been doing previous shows. I have to remind everybody that we've got our amazing forums. I've said it twice in the intro. Oh my gosh, it's so fun to be over there. Discourse.zed2zed.com. Lots of great community topics going on. There's going to be some posts after this show. All of our contests are over there. Those contests, of course, we've got the Gamertag challenge wrapping up. So August, it will be done. And we've got September gearing up now. The two tags that we have chosen, Big L, Bigell, and CS Geek Squad. Those two tags have been chosen, so you can do each one independently. It's, a nice collection of games, a great mix of titles there. Really looking forward to that. Of course, if you get them each with each letter, you can get 10 entries per Gamertag, so up to 20 this month. And then if you happen to need a substitution for like the Q or the U, those are kind of tricky, you can sub that in for a single submission. So you're not out of the running. And of course, we will have a gift card up for a random draw on that. The other contest that's starting up in September, the Great Random To-Do List. We've closed the sign-ups, although there's a couple late little trickles in here. And of course, if you're listening to this now, the lists will likely have already populated. We're starting September 1st, and so if you missed the intro, the first month of this thing starting, do not worry, because there are opportunities to still get on board. Head over to our forums, discourse.zed2zed.com. You can sign up. The way it works, I'll remind everybody one more time, you get each month your generated 25 achievements from your games collection. Very similar to the UHH, if you remember the Ultimate Head-to-Head Challenge earlier this year. That's kind of the achievements that are going to pop up. And for every achievement you earn, you get its ratio in points. And there will be a cumulative prize for whomever can score the most points over 12 months. However, there's also monthly prizes. So if you miss the intro month or you don't think you can catch up, well, guess what? Just participating will get you in a prize draw each and every month. Check out the rules over at our forums. We encourage everybody to sign up. It's going to be so much fun. Really looking forward to it, and there should be a great motivation to tap into that old backlog of yours. And even if your backlog's not that big, as long as you've got 25 achievements you need to get, I don't remember if I put a minimum or not, but just jump in, have some fun. So there's that contest going on. The third contest that we're doing is starting up in September as well, and that will be a Playing Zed challenge. Check the forums for rules on that. They will be posted by the time this show is available. Crandy and I are going head-to-head on Wolfenstein New Order, but we've decided to open it up to everybody else to kill Nazis with us. So the entire month of September, we will be playing Wolfenstein, all of the games in the series, and by earning achievements in those games and completing those games, you will unlock chances to get a raffle draw for a prize. So we got prizes coming out our ears. We're really excited about this, and we wish gives us things to do, gives us community events to play. I've got some other ideas for some fun things I want to do, things on the show, things on the forum. So keep, if we get the participation up, then it encourages me to come up with more fun activities for everybody. Finally, before we get to our co-hosts, I want to have everyone know about our Discord page that we have. There's a wonderful chat group right now over at Discord. You can find a link inside of our Discourse forums over to Discord. I know, super confusing, right? But Discord's been great. We've had a lot of chats. It's another awesome place too. If you happen to just be hanging out, say, "Hey, I'm going to go play this game." Anyone there want to meet up and pound out some achievements in whatever? Or hey, I'm playing some Prominence Poker, like I mentioned in the intro. Anybody else want to grind out some head-to-head wins? It is great. And, of course, there's a smattering of random discussions going on, and we've got listeners from all over the world, so there's pretty much always somebody there, be it UK, Australia, or the US. Of course, we're not limited to those countries, but those are the predominant locations where the show is downloaded. So I encourage you to head over there and chat up the community, have some fun, and meet up with some people. So, with that being said, let's move into the rest of the show. And today, joining me as co-hosts, we've got Proulx making a return appearance. I'm trying to speak here. How are you doing tonight, Proulx?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Good to have you back. Fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
I have a story I'd like you to go into later, but I want to introduce the rest of my co-hosts. We've got Damien, Spazpol. He's on borrowed time. His wife may go into labor at any moment.
Yeah, but I'm here recording.
Like a champ.
Hey. Priorities.
Hold on, we got to finish the podcast. Yeah. Can you just wait?
Just hold it in. It's okay. Just breathe.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, you heard Crandy. How are you doing tonight, sir?
The roaches. I'm not doing so great, Fream. If anyone in the chat knows, the roaches stole my desk.
That's gone.
They took it again. They really like that desk.
Did you see the GIF though of the roach from Joe's apartment? I mean, we already mentioned the movie, and it's back.
I did. It's
you
terrifying.
Actually you now have to rent the movie. I mean, I think you actually have to.
You have to watch it on VHS though. You can't rent it on DVD.
I need to go get a VCR. I'm sure I can find one real cheap. I have a VHS tape that I really want to watch. So I found it at the thrift store. I think it was some like corporate tape, like corporate educational tape from the 90s called Dealing with Diversity.
Oh.
And I couldn't not get that. Like, whatever is on that tape is gold, period. I just don't have I keep forgetting to take it to Canada where there's a VCR, and I just don't have a VCR. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'll get to it one day.
So, Crandy, do you have a mug this week?
I do have a mug. I forgot to post my mug last week. I'll get both of them up this week. This week I have a mug from Victory Point Cafe in Berkeley, which is a super cool place. This is a place I actually have been. It is a cafe where you can play board games. They have hundreds of board games, and you go in, you just like pay $5, and you can stay all day and play board games. You don't even have to buy coffee if you don't want to, but their coffee's good. So if you're in Berkeley,
go there.
I highly recommend it.
Does the $5 get you coffee too?
No, it just gets you games, but I mean, coffee's like $2.50 or something. It's not ridiculous. The prices are pretty fair.
Nice. You know what I had? So I had my fantasy football draft tonight, and my buddy was like, "Hey, anybody want Crystal Pepsi?" So I had a Crystal Pepsi tonight. Yeah, a little sipper.
Really? How was it?
It was exactly like I remember. It was funny. Well, because I don't drink soda anymore, and so a friend of mine and I were like, "Oh, this tastes like." It tastes like Pepsi, but like sweet, like good. And he goes, "Oh wait, this isn't Diet Crystal Pepsi. Like all we drink is chemical water now, and now that you have like the sugar. Oh yeah, that's right. That's what normal soda tastes like. Oh, it's delicious.
Well, it is super smooth though. Like it goes down way easier than almost anything else.
Well, and I like the fact that it doesn't leave that grime on your teeth that cola does, or you kind of have that
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. See, I typically prefer the corn syrup sodas, but I do like the Mexican Cokes. They're really good. Yeah. I don't like the cane sugar Pepsi though. It's weird.
I didn't realize last show that we literally talked about soda for 10 minutes. So all of you X1 Bros listeners who gave us a shot for the interview, I totally appreciate you guys listening. That is, I would say that's atypical. Of course, we just lead into the show with soda talk, and there will be talk later in the show about
it's soda. A Crystal Pepsi thing. It's because, I keep talking about Crystal Pepsi, how excited about Crystal Pepsi I am. Then somebody new has a Crystal Pepsi, and it's like, it's a big deal. Like,
right. It's, absolutely.
It's a big deal. Now, you got to try it.
So I promise we'll get back to soda talk later in the episode, but right now I got another story I want to hear about, and that's Proulx mentioned something on our forums. I believe you need to explain yourself. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
This is so I accidentally baked my Elite controller. Totally unintentional. It's a bit of a silly story, but it's basically what happened was, I use. Xbox is great, right? You have fun with it. You can get achievements on it. A secondary purpose that I have it for, of course, is connecting with friends. I moved from New York to the capital region about 3 years ago. So a lot of times we use Xbox Live as kind of a way to stay connected. And so me and my roommate, we were playing, I think, Halo at the time and talking to some friends from back home. And well, what do you do when you play video games but make a frozen pizza? So threw the pizza in the oven and went back to a few matches. And then, of course, right in the middle of the match, as it's one to do, the timer goes off. So I'm like, all right, it's fine. I'll just go get the pizza, pull it out, and run back before hopefully anybody finds me. Well, I had my headset on. And I thought it would be long enough, the cord, to put the controller on the counter as I pulled the oven open and then pulled the pizza out. My friend said something to me, and I yanked my head with the open oven, and it yanked the controller directly onto the bottom shelf of the oven.
Oh, no.
And so, of course, my instant reaction is panic. Oh, my God, I have to get that out. You don't think. So you reach in, and what do? Burn my arm. Yeah, because naturally, right? So I reach in, burn my arm, pull it out immediately. Think, oh, God, what do I do? Reach in again, burn my arm again. It's hot. So now I'm like full blown, like I got to get this out of here, and I don't even know how to do it. So I carefully this time reach into the bottom shelf and grab my Elite controller. This is a $150 controller, by the way, and throw it out of the oven. So fortunately, not too much damage happened, except the controller nubs have melted. So it makes playing on it a little difficult, and I've been trying to go through the process of getting some replacements. But here, just let it be a lesson to you. Maybe don't play around the oven with your very expensive, very nice controller.
I'm so glad, Proulx, you were able to share that story with us. That is great, and it was much easier to tell over verbally than it would be to type that whole thing out. So, last kind of piece of intro things that we want to cover is the talk of the Xbox right now, the Xbox onesie. Have you guys seen this thing?
I did see the Xbox.
What is this?
Oh, I want it so bad.
It's a set of pajamas, onesie pajamas, called the Xbox onesies. I think, are they currently only in Australia right now?
It was made by the Xbox Australia team. I think they're only promotional. I don't think they're for sale.
Because R56 Cooper S11 says, "What do you think of the Xbox onesies? You gonna buy one if they're available to buy?" And Kaiba Chaos says, "Yeah, I want one."
Oh, see, I'm a big fan of pajamas. I know me and Damien have definitely talked about how excellent it is to just like wear pajamas all day. So
work from home's the greatest thing,
right?
So, this is a onesie. I don't know if I think I would probably overheat in a onesie.
Oh, I bet.
Not this winter. You're going to need it for winter.
Well, yeah.
You were going to want fleece onesies all winter long. You're like, I'm not leaving. It's good.
But being a fan of pajamas and Xbox, this seems like a great combination. So, and you get your Gamertag embroidered on it, which is cool.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So,
that's brilliant.
Yeah, so I entered the contest. I think it's Major Nelson on Twitter. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Or Xbox something. I don't know. I think it was Major Nelson. Had a few to give away or something. And yeah, so the winners get their gamer tag on an Xbox onesie and an Xbox onesie, obviously.
That's great.
I'm glad it's not for sale because I would probably spend an embarrassing amount of money on this. I would definitely pick
tons of people. I suspect that with the popularity and like how much buzz it's getting, it's probably going to be for sale at some point, even if it's just like a limited thing. For a lot of money.
I think so. Yeah.
For a lot of money.
The final thing is CS Geek Squad also said he wants one. But so, yeah. And his Gamertag, of course, will be one of September's Gamertag Challenge. We're going to use Big L and CS Geek Squad for the Gamertag Challenge next month. So two tags to go for. So, yeah. If you ever forget, it'll be on his onesie. Those things are, yeah, that'd be great. All right, well, why don't we go into kind of what we've been doing this past week? I'll kick it over to our guest, Proulx. What have you been up to Xbox-wise?
Well, the most recent thing I've been playing is the new Deus Ex, which, is good. If you've played the old Deus Ex, it's the same from my memories of that. It's pretty much the same game, but it's cool. I've been enjoying it. I think I'm heading into the final mission now, and I'm playing it on the easiest mode, which is give me a story. That's what they call it, which is cool. I'm trying to go for no kills, and no alarms in the whole game. And it's actually been pretty easy, surprisingly, for that. So I'm hoping to get those 2 achievements at the end there. Mm-hmm. I spent a good deal of time this week playing the arcade game series Pac-Man. Man, I actually
256 or just Pac-Man?
Nope, no. There are these games called the arcade game series, and it's just straight Pac-Man. And this was actually on the advice of Macca, who obviously you're familiar with.
Yep.
He's got that list of easy achievement games, and I'm like, I did the Miss Pac-Man one, and now I've done the Pac-Man one, and he says they're easy 1,000. And they are, but there are a couple of achievements there that you will have to replay that game 20, 30, 40, 50 times. And man, I was getting frustrated. But other than that, replaying The Walking Dead on the one, since I beat it on the 360, so I'm just going for that stack. And because
season 1 or season 2?
Season 1. Yeah, I'm sure I'll move on to season 2 afterwards. But
right.
And then I've also been playing XCOM, which it was one of those games that I picked up when it first came out, and I think I had 2 achievements in it, and so I'm slowly making my way through that game. That game is really hard for me. I don't know why I have trouble with it, but it's good. It's good stuff, and because it was the game of the month.
Games with gold.
Yeah, games with gold. So I'm like, I'll just play it. So
I love that game. I can't wait for XCOM 2. That's coming out in September? End of September?
Yeah.
That'll be super fun. Awesome. Well, what about you, Damien? You've been painting nurseries, or you've been able to play some games?
Painting? You hire people for that garbage. No, what have I been doing this week? So I've been continuing I'm trying to remember what I said last week. So this week I've been continuing Minecraft Android for some of my daily streaking. Keep that going. So Android Pocket Edition. Then I actually finished up my Zed to Zed challenge for August. So I had done Zumba Kids. Got my first Z done. Then I went into Endless Skater. I haven't played that for 2 years on Windows 8. And went and did some 10 and 15 trick combos. What's funny, though, is I must have done, you would think, I didn't have the 10 trick and the 15 trick combo unlocked. And I unlocked the 15 trick combo, which means I clearly would have had to have done a 10 trick combo, but it didn't stack them. I then had to go back and then get a 10 trick challenge.
So were you able to actually pop both those? Because Knobs and Discos this week was going to feature Endless Skater, because there was some talk about it not working for a lot of people.
I was able to lock it on the 22nd, so I haven't gone back to it since. I was thinking
it was around that time when you were playing it, though. So
yeah, I was going to use that for the challenge starting in September. So I'll let you know if I can't get another achievement to pop for the next time. But it worked this week. So I did that. Then I did the stack of Doodle God Blitz. I finally decided I only had one achievement left on both versions. That was to do every single combination, where means, you literally, the easiest way to do it is to follow a guide, because otherwise I would have had no idea which things I hadn't mixed in which episode. So took me a good solid 2 hours, especially waiting for the mana to recharge, but I was able to finally get the finish it on Windows Phone. So then I actually could not get it to load on Windows 8.1. It wouldn't load on Windows 10. Like every time I loaded the game on any of those versions of Windows, the game would just crash out. Like you would just it'd go to the Doodle God loading screen, and then the game would just blank out. I installed it on 4 machines, nothing worked. Then I have one laptop that's actually running Windows 8.0, and that was still able to load. And I installed the game, was able to sync it off of Facebook and get the completion. So I don't know what they've done with the install, but I found right now Doodle God Blitz will only work on Windows 8.0.
Dang.
Yeah. But hey, game's completed. I can uninstall it. I don't care if it doesn't work for anybody else now. Then I did Zumba Fitness Rush for my other Z for Zed to Zed. And then I went back and did Titanfall. I was able to do a title update for the 2 in Zed to Zed. And then the next day I started Teslagrad, which we'll cover later in Shovelware Cemetery. But I played through that whole game for 2 days. Loved it. And did EA Sports Active. I went back and did about 250 more arm curls to get my pump and iron for my second E. And then Dungeon Punks, which we'll cover, Microsoft Bingo, just some other random filler. Oh, and Xbox Fitness. I have been boring people to death as I sit there and work out and sit in Skype parties because, working out by yourself is just a lonely, boring thing.
So you're just like breathing heavy into people's mics or what?
Well, I run and talk, so it's not super bad. Well, I don't know. Ask Crandy. How bad is it when I work?
It's not. Well, I mean, I used to do, when I did P90X, I used to have a group that we would all get together on Skype. It was me, my wife, and one of our friends. And every day we would get together at the same time and do P90X. And we did that for the entire summer. And it was good because, we kept each other accountable for our workouts. And it was way more fun to do it with other people.
Yeah. And I guess it also depends too. Like, I'm not doing anything on Xbox Fitness that's overly exerting myself. It's not like it'd be like if you're jogging and you talk versus trying to sprint and talk. I'm usually at a jog type pace. So.
Like doing jump squats. Like
yeah, no, I'm usually doing I usually do the 10-minute kickbox cardio, but it's not a very intense kickbox thing for 10 minutes. So It's just other than here's like 3 or 4 air punches, which here I just did 4 of them right now while I'm talking. So it's not bad. Exactly.
Video or it didn't happen.
All right. But I'm in my pajamas.
Nice. What about you, Crandy? What were you up to?
This is, I want to say it's a slow week, but it's not. It's just not that exciting in terms of variety. I played a lot of Disney Infinity 3. Lots and lots of Disney Infinity 3. So I basically started and completed the game on Xbox One minus the 4-player achievement in the Battlegrounds DLC because I do not have 4 controllers. So I'm working on that. It'll get done soon.
Wink, wink.
Then I went over to the 360 version that I had made some progress in. I finished Battlegrounds. I finished almost everything in the base game, and I am about 2 levels away from finishing Finding Dory. Then I'll bundle those up and send them off to Damien because it's his turn to use his half of the stuff he paid for.
Yeah.
I finished up Ben-Hur, which was dreadful. Just dreadful.
Saving that for September. That's the B in Big L.
Ben-Hur. It's a real winner. You're in
Good
for a
luck.
treat. Yeah. The good news, though, you should be able to finish that in one night of gaming. So that's
well, and that's
hopefully.
like I didn't think about it until I heard Shovelware last week and your comment of there's a good chance this will be delisted very soon.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can just add it to your queue and then play it whenever. I don't.
Oh, I know.
Like,
I'm just saying, like,
stop working.
not that there's going to be any server issues or anything, but like I think of TMNT Training Layer, right? Like that movie.
Oh yeah, it's totally. It's just like any of those other games where they'll probably be up for 6 months, maybe a year, and then it's gone. And then, as you'll hear later in the show, in Shovelware, Teslagrad started and completed. Excellent game. And then I did play Dungeon Punks on a dummy, but not on my main tag. So Teslagrad was my main tag and was super fun. So that was it for me, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah, other than hunting roaches.
Yeah, that's it. Augmented reality?
Unfortunately, not augmented.
Reality?
It's just reality.
You haven't done it with Pokemon Go? Yeah, does that count if
No.
you play that and you're not getting achievements? I play that all the time.
I do too.
I still haven't played it.
A lot of people falling off the bandwagon, though. Losing a lot of people.
Yeah, that's kind of expected.
Yeah, I bet. For me, so a fun milestone that I hit this week, totally unexpected, but I have climbed into the top 100 for True Achievements points in Minnesota. So that was kind of fun. I'm aiming for 100 in Gamerscore, and I kind of took some time off playing Destiny and fell behind, but I think I can get there by the end of the year. I'm like 113th place overall. So this my goal is getting to the top 100. And to do that, let's see, I kind of played a bunch of stuff. I did the same thing you did, Damien, where I really made an effort to tackle the Gamertag challenge. Mm-hmm. And so I fired up Zeros, bean dived it, got the first achievement in that thing. Not looking forward to playing that more. I fired up Tumblestone. Actually had to play a decent way into that to get that first achievement. I had to play the entire first world. I'm not sure if there's an easier one, but that's like 30 levels of, granted they're tutorial levels, so not terribly difficult, but it's fine. Might as well be a phone game. It's just a generic puzzle game. We'll see if it gets more in-depth as we go, but I just don't think so. Hyperdrive Massacre was part of a different gamer tag, but same type of thing. That game, playing with bots, is remarkably difficult. I set them on like normal, right? That's the lowest you can go. And the controls on that are really challenging. And so like I was flying around and they were just, because they don't have to deal with trying to figure out how to steer your guy. Because you use your throttle like a car, so right trigger's gas, left trigger's reverse, and then you use the analog stick to turn left or turn right. Okay, but if you're facing down and you turn left, right, you're holding left on the stick, but then your car turns to the right because you're facing down. It's super difficult to like wrap your head around, and so I felt like I was just flying all over the place. But you get an achievement for playing 10 matches, so so thank you for participating, and that was the achievement I got for that one. My daughter saw that I was I've been working on my Rayman Legends dailies. Now that I finished my one version, I want to do the 360 version. And so I was home with her, and I fired that thing up, and she's like, "Oh, let's play." And I was like, "All right, whatever." So I did obviously I did the extreme challenge first because it's one player, and then we did the second one, and she's 5, so it did not go well. She was getting frustrated. I said, "Well, hey, how about we play a different game?" I said, I know a game you might like. We'll play Frozen Freefall, right? So we'll do. It's just a match 3 game. That's all. I mean, I knew exactly what I was doing when I did this, but so I set it up for multiplayer. I'm like, all you have to do is match the gems, and there you go. And I just wailed on her.
Snowball fight.
My 10 snowball combo. I somehow like she ended up figuring it out and got the dodges, and so that unlocked on my account, which was great. So I got the whaling her with snowballs and the 5 dodges or whatever in a round, or 3 dodges. So that was fun. Tarragon, through his coworkers, pressured him into buying Rocket League. So I played that one night. I stayed up real late playing that thing. Man, that's so much fun. And I think we've been officially challenged, Crandy, to a Rocket League tournament against the X1 Bros. So
I know, I saw that. I'm gonna have to cave, I guess.
Oh my god, the game's so fun, but we gotta practice.
I know it's super fun. It's just I don't have any money.
Yeah, you gotta buy it.
So yeah.
So we gotta do that.
It might be a little bit. Yeah, maybe after my birthday.
Maybe we gotta like coordinate with them to try and figure that thing out. But we are totally down. So if you're, David, if you're listening, we're definitely up for the challenge. So we'll coordinate and get a time together to do that. Of course, it'll be streamed, right? We'll figure out a way to do that. It'll be fun. I'm excited. So I started up Prominence Poker. Okay, despite and you'll hear as the intro, that the achievement sponsor is from this game. It is oh my gosh. Anyway, just your generic poker game, right? It might as well be Full House Poker Pro or whatever. That was just discontinued like last year. It's the same thing. I mean, it's all the same thing. It's just a standard online poker game, but I like gambling, and so it works for me. And it's, there's a daily login, you get some chips, you can, there's some nice ways to cheese this thing. So like right now, most of the people who play is if you go into a public head-to-head match, right, you're just looking for one person, head-to-head, and 100 chips is your pot limit, and you just do a search, pretty much everybody there is just grinding for like wins and games. And so they'll immediately go all in, hope for the best, and they're just grinding away multiplayer matches. And if you happen to win, so be it. Because I think you need 100 matches and 50 wins. So that's the way to boost that. It's the fastest way. And there's actually a lot of people online right now doing that. Because I think if you really want to make some money or play some poker, people will play higher bid games. I mean, you don't want to play, for 100 coins. That's just a joke. So if you're looking to do that, servers are pretty much open to people who are there are just boosting it. Easy. So if you had a group together, you could kind of flood it, and so there'd be a nice way to match up with everybody. But so I kind of grind out some of those. Anyway, that game actually has a consecutive day streak, and it's only 5, and I freamed it. It only took me 2 days, and I messed it up.
You.
Classic Fream.
I turned around and all of a sudden I was like, oh my God. Like, it's just, I could have done it this week, and I biffed it. You got to be kidding me. So anyway, I reset. I got it tonight, actually. Right before signing on for the show, I was like, oh my God, I can't forget my Prominence Poker login. I need to get those free chips. And sure enough, I got my 5th one tonight. So yes, I freamed once, but we've recovered. And then finally, I played Dungeon Punks because you had mentioned that was on the docket for the week. I thought maybe I could get it in before you guys had the shovelware segment. Didn't happen, so I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say about it. I enjoyed it. I wish I knew about the unobtainables. They're supposed to be being fixed right now. That's the rumor on the internet, which you'd like to think for a new game that at least make sure it works within the first 6 months. We'll see. I have faith that it will be fixed. That's not my concern.
Yeah, most of the indie devs have been pretty good about fixing stuff.
Yeah, so I'm not terribly worried about it. I think, so, top just bullet points for me. Love the humor of the game. I thought it was very funny. It's kind of really cheeky and just kind of silly, but I think the humor works. And it really reminds me of an old school arcade brawler. And so, from my standpoint, I don't know if I would pay money for it, but I enjoyed playing it. So we'll put it at that. So that was my week. I'm looking forward to really trying to figure out how to play Rocket League. It took me like 3 games to get back into understanding how to drive, and still not great at it. I was trying to do rank up matches, and I struggled. And then I'll keep doing Prominence Poker just to kind of chip away every day at that, keep that streak going, and get some money. Because there's some easy achievements at the low end of that. There are some very grindy ones, and of course a ridiculous grindy one. But
yeah, $50,000.
Yep, that'll lead into our forum buzz, because I want to give a shout out to Spanky and Spronkle. He put together a Prominence Poker boosting session. So there were 6 of us in there getting together, and we lost to each other. We got the 5 wins. I think a couple of us got the 7-2 offsuit win. It was a great little session. Took 30 minutes, and I think we all knocked out 4 achievements at least. Some of us got 5. It worked out fantastic, and so that was awesome, Spanky. I really appreciate you putting that together. Just like we had considered with Games with Gold coming up here, trying to find ways to just get those multiplayer things taken care of real quick. He took the initiative and got Prominence Poker taken away. It's an easy boost, and literally takes a half hour for achievements, and you got all the important ones. So if you're looking, use TrueAchievements.com, set something up. Use our forums, the Zed to Zed forums, discourse.zed2zed.com. Great place to do that. The other interesting, and here's where we'll bring back soda talk, was we had mentioned last episode about the soda recipes, the suicides, the garbage soda, the swamp water. Apparently, I mean, it's a gamer topic, right? Everybody likes soda. Proulx, did you get to listen?
Pepsi.
Yeah, did you listen to the last episode? What do you guys call it? Do you have?
Yeah, I listened, and I had literally no idea what you guys were talking about. I
never did that.
We never did that, so I don't have a funny regional name for that. I'd never.
You need to go make one.
I could do that, I suppose. Yeah, I don't even know. Maybe if I asked, maybe it was just me kind of a thing, and maybe all my friends did do it. But I'll have to ask around and see what they called it.
Yeah, that's fascinating. You've never drank that, but I think one of my favorites was Lord Chabello, who chimed in and said, "I grew up in Mexico, and Dr. Pepper is not sold there. I knew nothing of Mountain Dew until I got to college in the United States, and I would make my own Dr. Pepper mix with Pepsi, Coke, root beer, and more sugar. Poor substitute, I know, but I was young and naive." By the way, we did not have the luxury of soda fountain dispensers available to kids in the 80s and 90s in Mexico, so I don't have a recipe or a name. I was like, that blew my mind that Mexico does not have Dr. Pepper. What do they have? Senor Pibb? Who?
They got Fanta.
I think there is one.
They don't even have Mr. Pibb in Canada, so I don't know if it'd make it to Mexico.
I told him that he can make up his own name and call it Chabello Yellow. Mark Nocturnal said that the first time he tried Dr. Pepper wasn't until he joined the military, because he was in Puerto Rico. They don't have it in Puerto Rico either. So I was like, man, that's just blood. Like, apparently Dr. Pepper is very much just United States. So I don't know if...
No, it's in Canada,
it's
too.
It's in Canada? I wonder if the UK has it.
Less popular than the U.S. Like, it's not on tap in Canada. Like you won't go to a McDonald's or whatever and find Dr. Pepper there, but you can buy it in the store, like in cans or bottles or whatever, pretty much everywhere.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Koosh Moose called it a suicide, and he lived in Maryland planting. So Warren lives up in New England, and he called it garbage soda. So we're all over the place.
Soda.
Yeah, it's just great. And then and Stushnikin up in Buffalo called it a graveyard. So yeah,
lots of different names.
It's fascinating to me that there are different names for that. So yeah, the soda thread lives on.
See, I was thinking we have all this soda talk. We keep, promoting Crystal Pepsi. We should tweet Pepsi and be like, "Hey, we keep talking about Crystal Pepsi on our show. Like, you should have someone from Pepsi come on our show and have no idea what we're talking about."
Gotcha. Well,
send us Crystal Pepsi. That's also acceptable.
Not to be outdone with soda talk, we did have a question for the show that I forgot to ask last time, but Saucy Slingo asked, now that we've covered soda, it's on to French fries or chips, whatever style you like best. So, for example, the styles he was thinking of: waffle cut, shoestring, steak fries, curly fries, wedge fries, anything that he missed.
Baconator.
So what do you guys say? What's your favorite kind of French fry?
Oh, that's tough.
Proulx, what about you? You got one?
I'm not a big potato guy in general. So if the more stuff you put on it, the better off I am. So if you put loaded waffle fries or something, I guess is what I would say.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that same boat. Like some sort of house fries of whatever the restaurant is, where they put Lowry's on it, and you got some sort of seasoned sour cream to dip it in. Mm-hmm. That's always just awesome.
See,
I know what my favorite is. I know now. So I don't typically like seasoned fries. Now, I was thinking Jack in the Box curly fries because they're just got a little bit of seasoning, nice and crispy, and they're super cheap and delicious. But no, New York fries in Canada. I know it doesn't make sense. I believe it's only in Canada, I think. But they do fresh cut fries with the skin on.
Sure.
And they're super fresh and awesome and delicious. I don't know what I was thinking. I was right there in front of him when I was visiting, and I didn't get any. Now this is brought up, and I want some. I gotta wait until I go next time. Super disappointing.
I do like sweet potato fries. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I kind of don't think they're real fries. They're okay. They're okay, but they're not real fries. I also make a mean fry myself too. My own fries are really good.
Oh, and I've had squash fries where you cut squash.
Yeah, I've done those too. I don't like them, but
I think
I haven't made them before. But typically for me, for style is less thick. I'm like Proulx. I don't really eat potatoes. I don't like potatoes. I don't not eat potatoes. I just don't like most potatoes.
I don't know what you guys are talking. They're so good.
I know. That's what everyone says.
I have such a heavy starch diet because of potatoes.
So it's like everyone tells me I'm weird because I don't eat potatoes. But yeah, I've tried so many different potatoes, and mashed potatoes smell so good. They smell so good, but then I eat it and no, I can't do it.
It's because
texture.
They're just mush. That's the thing. Potatoes have no taste of their own. That's why everybody puts so much butter and stuff in them, because it
smells so good. It's butter and goodness, and then it's ooh,
chives, a little bit of it's the bacon. Cheese, yeah. So Saucy Slingo also adds, hey, we could go into dippings like ketchup or mayo, etc. He says, I'm a purist, and I usually don't have to do dipping for fries, except when I have a Wendy's Frosty, and I dip my fries into the chocolate Frosty. And if you haven't done it, you won't regret it. It is sweet and salty heaven.
I did see this, and I've done that my entire life. It's the best. It's absolutely the best.
I did that in the past prior to me being allergic to milk.
Right.
But
yeah,
I used to do
that.
Right. And I'm so jealous of Frosties now that my dad will get a Frosty all the time, and my kids go to Dairy. They're like, hey, let's go to Dairy Queen. It's awesome, a place I literally can have nothing at.
Dairy Queen has awesome burgers though. So get a burger.
They do not, and you are lying to my face.
No, they do. Well, unless Canadian Dairy Queen is different than American Dairy Queen, their burgers are spot on. Some of the best fast food burgers, I think.
Yeah, we have a Dairy Queen in town, and there's a Pokestop right there. That's a good idea. I'm going to go there tomorrow and get a burger. Thanks.
Nice. So yeah,
Oh,
what
I
about
want one.
sauces? I mentioned mine, like a seasoned sour cream is top of my list.
I'm a ketchup guy.
But you
like
live in
ketchup.
Canada, don't you dip them in mayo like those weird Canadians
No.
do?
Uh-uh.
I bet the nighty would.
No, Canadians like poutine with the gravy and squeaky cheese,
Gotcha.
but I don't because I'm
Damien Proulx, do you
I'm
have
traitor.
a dipping
I
sauce
do
of choice?
because I used to do the Ivar's fish and chips when I lived in Seattle, so I always had tartar, so I mixed tartar and ketchup.
Goo. Oh, that sounds terrible.
Oh, but it's good with the fish and chips because if you like tartar and you like ketchup, you're going, it's all getting mixed in my belly anyway. Kind of good combination. Then I started dipping my fries. I'm like, I don't eat everything like this.
You don't have to mix it before it goes in your belly, though.
I know.
Yeah. Agreed.
I like tartar sauce and I like ketchup. I don't know. I don't like the mayo on fries.
Sounds dangerous.
Yeah, I don't
What
like
about you,
mayo on
Proulx?
fries, but tartar and ketchup.
Yeah, ketchup, much like potatoes, is boring. So if it's the only option available to me, I'll go with ketchup. But I do anything else. So if there's some barbecue there, maybe some sweet and sour, really pretty much anything else.
To be honest, I prefer plain French fries over French fries with ketchup.
Yes.
Like I will pass on the ketchup if that's my only option.
What about buffalo sauce? A little spicy
Yes.
tang.
Down.
Yeah,
I'm down
absolutely.
for that. Totally down for that. Well, we mentioned the Nighty earlier. He actually has a non-food related question, a video game related question.
What are those?
Yeah, right. He says, if you could have any actor to voice over a character for your favorite game, who would voice over which character from which game?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, this is tough. So, I mean, maybe you want to start with saying kind of what's your favorite game that uses voice actors. That might be an easier place to start, and then you can pick an actor who'd be, oh yeah, boy, how cool would it be if I heard this dude talking like that? So, does anybody have a favorite game that they can start the ball rolling on?
I would say I don't want any voice actors to change because that's part of what makes the game that game. It's like, I'm thinking like, oh, maybe change someone in BioShock, but no, like if you change them, then it's not, it's not the same anymore, and it's not the same experience. Like, I don't want Atlas's voice to change in BioShock,
What if Atlas became something very hysterical? Like
Christopher Walken.
Oh my god.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it would be funny as like a mod or something, but I wouldn't want that in place of whoever does Atlas's voice currently.
maybe that would even be a better question, not to enhance the game, but if you could do a mod to make something as ironic or hysterical as you could think.
Now that's different.
Like Samuel L. Jackson as Lee from The Walking Dead. Just totally changes like the way he delivers everything, and like adds way more cussing.
Yeah, I remember, right after Skyrim came out, there was a mod where you could replace the dragons with, I think it was Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't remember. It was some wrestler, and he would go around yelling instead of speaking dragon speak at you. So that was funny. But.
Yeah,
I think I'd have to go from right now. From what I've thought, I didn't pre-think this. This is just on the spot. I think I'd have to go with John C. Reilly in Something Serious. And, because he does the best characters.
Yeah, he's good.
And, like,
Yeah,
even just his regular voice is really funny. Yeah. So,
like, I'm just trying to think of people with distinctive voices who's like, oh, I'd like to hear him as a voice actor in general. Like Samuel Jackson has a very distinctive voice. The Christopher Walken, of course.
Yeah, Christopher Walken would be good, too, for sure.
He would do a great job.
Like Christopher Walken is Andrew Ryan.
It's like Steve Buscemi, I think. He has a great voice.
Well, I think I was thinking like Macho Man Randy Savage, or somebody that dialogue, because
like real over the top.
Yeah, well, because I was thinking, the first thing I was thinking of is because I wanted to get back into Skylanders again, but Flynn, if any of you have played that, it's the guy who does. Well, he was the boyfriend from Seinfeld, but he's Joe from Family Guy. It's like the same voice actor for.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and he's in. If you actually go onto his IMDb, you find out he's in so many things. You're like going, no wonder I just know his voice. Like the minute, but he started playing Skylanders, like, why do I know that? It was like what's her name from Mia whatever who did she was in that 70s show, but she's Meg.
Mila Kunis.
Oh, and she's also Ashley in Mass Effect.
Yeah. Yeah, you realize it's like
there's a lot of video game voice actors that are in a ton of stuff. Like in terms of video games, like who is it? It's I think it's like the commander from Red Faction Guerrilla is in like everything. Like he's in Gra, he's in Red Faction, he's in Crackdown. Yeah, he's the agency voice from Crackdown. That's probably the one that you would most recognize him from, because like, Agent, you need to climb to the top of the tower and find the dossiers. Agent, stop killing the civilians. And then there's the twist at the end.
Yeah.
I have a sarcastic answer. And that, of course, is anybody that is played by Nolan North could be replaced with anybody other than Nolan North, because he's way too frequent in the video games scene. He's good. He does his stuff, but he's just all over the place.
He really is. And it's unfortunate when like some of them start to blend together, because he's in so many things that it's just like, oh yeah, this sounds just like this guy, or from a different game. But that is kind of a bummer.
I would have liked to hear Archer as Red Dead Redemption.
John C. Benjamin or John H. Benjamin? John H. Benjamin. God, it's just such a distinctive voice. He's fantastic.
But if that was John Marston, I could have seen that game going a completely opposite direction.
I'm going to go one more. I think Samuel Jackson is Andrew Ryan. Also, would be very interesting. Yeah.
What did I just had one on the tip of my tongue that I would really like to see. Oh man, that's frustrating. But yeah, that's a fun topic. Yeah, I think voice actors are just super cool, and I would love to like contribute my voice to something and then actually get to play with it and be like, oh my god, there it is. It's one thing listening to yourself on a podcast, but like to actually be in a game.
We're famous podcasters now, so
working on my radio voice.
Obviously, I mean, we're all going to be voice actors in a game. I mean, now I could feature you in Big Rigs Trucking.
Oh, now we're talking.
See, that's professional. That might even make it to Xbox One.
Is that demo still up? I haven't played that yet.
Yes, it is still up, and it'll probably run on anything. So. No worries on older computers.
How about my TI-89 calculator? Test that yet?
Probably
what
not.
about his TI-99 4A that he's recording on right now?
There you go.
Maybe.
Nice. All right. So that's the forum buzz for the week. I want to get into the feature content list. So Time Magazine put together a top list of the best video games of all time. You guys had an opportunity to see this at all?
I did not.
It's I mean,
I hate those lists though, because you can't do that. Like you cannot do that.
My wife gave me a book, 1001 video games you must play before you die, which I mean,
okay, maybe 1,000. You might be able to do it in 1,000. 100 or 50, I don't know.
Yeah, it's 50 right now is the list. So,
I don't know.
I don't know if we want to go through quick.
48 is Angry Birds. Come on, Angry Birds is not.
What?
Well, I think they're just referring to like games that are, important to gaming and what they've done.
Where's Final Fantasy VII on that list?
Number 2 or 3, I think.
Ooh.
Is Chrono Trigger even on that list?
Chrono Trigger is on the list.
What's number 1? That's the most important.
Zelda.
Number 1, I have to pull it up. Of course, my internet's falling apart here on this one. But I looked through the list and it wasn't egregious. I looked at something, I'm like, oh my god, why'd you put that on there? Like each one, I feel has
like I just did with Angry Birds. Angry Birds. See, my problem with Angry Birds is it's just a ripoff of a bunch of other games that came before it. It's not. It didn't do anything special. It just got popular, and that's why I have a problem with Angry Birds being on the list, because it is not original at all. it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Tetris is number one.
Tetris? Yeah.
And Doom and Wolfenstein 3D are both on the list, so it's like you kind of pick one in those because.
Well, I think, but
one just led to the
Wolfenstein
other.
launched it, and then Doom revolutionized it. I think's the idea.
What am I thinking that was between Doom and Wolfenstein?
Quake? No.
Yeah, I was thinking
Quake came after Doom.
that was after Doom.
Quake added like aiming up and down, I think. Quake is also on the list, but Quake is different enough that you could have them both, I think.
Yeah, like I'm just going through it, and it's like I've pretty much played everything on this list.
GoldenEye 007?
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Done
20-something.
That doesn't hold up.
22.
It really doesn't, but it was so revolutionary when it started. You know, Braid on the list is one of my favorite games. of all time.
GoldenEye is like, it has so much influence. Like, that's what started like I think, not started, but really kind of brought to a like mainstream play of multiplayer first-person shooters.
But
because I mean, yeah, like Doom started, like Doom did deathmatch, Doom started deathmatch, Doom started internet play, but everybody played GoldenEye,
Yeah.
and it was big. GoldenEye was a big deal.
But here's the thing, right? It's basically how they frame it, because we're talking about all of these important milestone video games. But it's really like, is that what they're saying? Is that what the best games are of all time?
And it's not.
Yeah, of course
it's
not.
really not, because GoldenEye, I mean, even playing Perfect Dark, like I had never played Perfect Dark. Well, I did a very, very briefly on the N64. I got it right at the tail end of my N64 time, so I didn't really play it much. But I mean, even that, like it doesn't hold up. I mean, like it's good, like it's still fun and everything, but it's like, okay, you don't have to aim, you just kind of, sort of point in the direction because it's meant to be played with one stick and all that stuff. But it's like, yeah, like I wouldn't call these the 50 best video games.
Yeah, I think they're more like most influential or something.
Yeah, because I think
and that's different.
it also depends on age, because quite frankly, with a decade at least between you and me, Randy, that's 10 years of gaming that I did. When you came in, what was your first console?
My first console was an NES.
An 8-bit NES.
Well, NES and SNES at the same time. Okay. So my dad had both, and those are what I started playing.
Yeah,
on.
so I mean that puts you already in the mid 90s, where at that point we had the NES in 1983.
I didn't.
Right.
To be fair, though, I was behind. I was quite behind on my gaming. So although I came in at the tail end of the Super Nintendo, I did still play a lot of the big games for the NES and the SNES, because most of my games I got used from video stores that were clearing out that inventory. So I would pick up a lot of games really cheap. So I did get exposed to a lot of, not all of them, but a lot of.
But I guess my point,
NES and SNES.
Well, my point would be playing Kid Icarus in 1985 when that was new and that was kind of big.
Well, it was new. It was new to me. I didn't have. None of my friends had any other consoles.
The mechanics, just presented as a game, like that had never been done before.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah. I understand. Yeah, what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's what it being like. I loved playing Kaboom and not Warlords. I'm just thinking Breakout. If you're playing back on the Atari 2600, because that's all you had, or you had an Intellivision, or you had a Coleco. It's So comparing that would be, well, Super Mario Brothers is a much more complex game than Adventure. Well, yeah, but they came out in different generations.
Yeah, it's not a fair comparison.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and I think it's fortunate that I was I've been into retro collecting and just collecting video games in general for a long time, like since I was like a young kid, and that did expose me to a lot of the older stuff that people are with emulation being so easy and so stable now, that a lot of people can now get into that. But that's I kind of started with the older consoles, even though I was behind, and I'm glad that I did get exposed to that. and I got to play all those games, but it wasn't like you were saying, it's definitely not the same experience. Like if you're like, you're kind of up on everything and like not just video games, but like video games and tech and everything. And this comes out and you're like, whoa, like this is, like when something crazy cool comes out now, like VR. It's like, whoa, that's cool. Like nobody's ever been able to do that before.
Yeah, because like when we did, what was it, the 20th anniversary of Another World? Oh my God. So I was playing through that now. It really, sometimes it's cool to go back. Sometimes you're like, man, it's like I go back and I'm like, maybe I want to go play Space Quest again. No, not really.
Yeah. I find the thing too, like with a lot of the older games is you have to have a lot of time to sink into it because a lot of it's just like figuring out stuff because they're not clear, like especially with like bigger adventure games and stuff. So, it's just like you go back, you're like, oh, like, I just want to get right to this. I don't want to spend a day just wandering around dying trying to figure out what it is. I don't know. I've had that experience with a few games that I really liked, and then I'm like, I wish I had more time so I could like really not care about wasting a whole day just figuring out how to play this game.
So it's obviously a very complicated issue. But one thing that sticks out and really annoys me is they list Super Smash Brothers. If you're doubting the validity of this list, you should. If you're skeptical, that's okay.
I'm in the same boat.
They list Super Smash Brothers, but the picture is of Super Smash Brothers Melee. So drop the mic. This entire list is invalidated. I can't even.
Well,
so
I'm gonna have to be with you on that.
And I mean, like I agree that Melee is the most important one of the game, and like I think that's what they meant. Suffice it to say, that's not the biggest issue for me. Mine is number 18, Rise of the Tomb Raider.
What?
Yeah, I had an issue with that too. I just didn't get to say it.
I look at the rest of the list and it's like, all right, every one of these, sure, they are important. They have a place. I've played most of them. I really enjoyed most of them. I haven't played Rise of the Tomb Raider yet, so maybe I'm off base in saying that it's I'm sure it's a very good video game.
It's too new to judge.
Too new to be this like landmark and important to video games in general.
Where did the original Tomb Raider for the PlayStation get ranked in, or did it not?
None. Did not. Yeah. The other thing too is they have Guitar Hero at 47, but no Rock Band.
Yeah.
Because Rock Band, Guitar Hero, I think they should both be on there personally, because Guitar Hero really started it, and then Rock Band took it to like that super success. Because Guitar Hero never would have done that. Like with Guitar Hero's full band experience was so inferior to Rock Band's, and they were just so behind that it wouldn't. I don't think that success would have happened if Rock Band didn't come along.
Yeah, and
I think it's kind of, I don't know. And it's Guitar Hero 1. Guitar Hero 1 was like is horrible. It was a horrible game.
Was that the PlayStation 2 one?
PlayStation 2 only, and it was so flawed. There was so much wrong with it. Like, it was a really good first go, but even Guitar Hero 2 was really rough. Like, it was a rough game to play. Like, when you get into like the technical stuff with Guitar Hero, like the timing windows were bad, and some other stuff. Then Guitar Hero 3 came along, and then that was solid. Guitar Hero 3 was solid. But I'm pretty sure the picture for Guitar Hero is of Guitar Hero 2.
Yep.
Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Guitar Hero 2.
Yeah. And what's interesting is the only series to be represented more than once on the list, I believe, and this is just from perusing it, is Mario, which makes a lot of sense. But, we're talking about, you're mentioning Guitar Hero and stuff, and yeah, Guitar Hero 2, 3, all of them were better than 1. And Pokemon Red and Blue are on here, and literally every Pokemon after it is a better game. Same thing with Zelda. The first Zelda is amazing, of course, legendary.
Except for Zelda 2, that was garbage compared to the
Zelda
first one.
Zelda 2 was terrible.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that every single, but Zelda 1 is certainly not the best Zelda.
I still think hands down, A Link to the Past, the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, A Link to the Past is my favorite as well. That is so fun. I've played that game so many times. So good. But I don't know, Pokemon Red and Blue, like they were still super solid though. Like,
oh no, they're great.
Like, you know, you could play that today and be like, yeah, this still holds up. But Guitar Hero 1, you go back and play it and you're like, if they didn't make the changes they made, like this whole, like it would never have happened.
Yeah.
That's, like Guitar Hero 1 is like, you can go back and try and play it and it's just like, ugh.
My son is playing Pokemon Yellow on his DS right now, and he keeps asking me like about how everything, like, oh, so how, where do I get the fishing rod and how do I do this? And I'm like, hey, buddy, I never played Pokemon. Like, I literally made it up to the first gym, and I never played it. Like, I was like 20 years old when Pokemon came out. Like, that was not in my wheelhouse.
I explained it to my son. I had just spent 40 to 60 hours doing Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, Final Fantasy 3, and it's like, yo, do you want to go hang out in the woods and catch little animals? No thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, if anybody has any Pokemon questions, send them my way. I to this day, I still play all of the games that come out. Man, I love that series so much.
Yeah, I played a lot of Pokemon back in the day too, but I haven't. The last one I played was the first one that came out on the original DS,
which was Black and the original.
No, I think it was Pearl.
Diamond and Pearl. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Pearl. I think was the last one I played.
Did Minecraft make the list?
Nope,
it did not. Which is also, that should definitely be there instead of Angry Birds.
But like, Pong did,
at the very least.
Pong's on the list.
Now Pong is very influential. Pong did a lot.
Gears.
So,
and Halo 1 instead of Halo 2, but I guess you could. That's a fair argument. You could probably make.
Yeah.
I mean, the Halo series itself was. I mean, Halo 1 was a pretty big deal.
This gives me an idea for a forum thread. So if you haven't been to the forums and seen the greatest video games question that I'm going to pose, go and find it and contribute. And we're going to try to put our own Zed to Zed list. And I'll try and narrow the scope. I'm not doing greatest games of all time. That's an obscene list. So we'll narrow it down, and maybe we can put together a top 50 collectively. So we'd love to hear your feedback on the forum.
What about
make
top 5 for each console?
That's what I'm thinking, yeah. So we'll pose it in separate topics, and we'll just break it out. So head to the ZZ forums and contribute to our collection of data, and we'll try to put together the Z to Z list of top games, and we'll report back the results. So with that, why don't we move into news? Some real quick things to talk about. Of course, Games with Gold was announced. You likely all know about it, and by the time this comes out, you guys start getting some free games. What do you guys think of the list this year? We actually have or this month, the forums talking about it, and they're actually pretty excited about it. I have to admit, I'm excited about it too. So on the Xbox One, we've got the new, it was a Kickstarter game, Earthlock RPG, kind of turn-based RPG. And Assassin's Creed Chronicles, and that's the whole thing, right? Like all three, India, China, and Russia?
I think it's just China, isn't it?
I thought it was the whole thing. Anyway,
yeah, TA has it listed as just China.
Is it okay?
I mean, maybe not. Maybe
for
not.
The 360, Forza Horizon, and Mirror's Edge. So some solid titles there. What do you guys think?
Well, unfortunately, I have both Mirror's Edge and Forza Horizon, so...
Never played Forza Horizon or Mirror's Edge.
I haven't played either of them either. I own them.
You own them. I haven't played them.
But I'll take the free digital copies. I don't have them digitally, so I'll take that and leave my discs in the cases. I like the look of the Chronicles game, so I'm pretty happy to be able to play one for free, and I have no idea what the other game is. So
I'm looking forward to Earthlock. I think that I really like when new games and you're trying to get them out there, a new publisher, because typically they put a lot of time into it because they want this to be put them on the map, right? This is our first chance, and now granted it's Kickstarter, so you gotta with a little bit of caution.
Unless it's zeros,
right? Yeah, not all of them work, but. Anyway,
it's okay.
Looking forward to that.
Take a little jab at zeros, but they did a good job of patching it up afterwards, so
yeah,
won't be too mean to them.
That being said, regardless of the patch, I didn't really care for the gameplay when I played it. We'll turn to Twitter here. Mike Ybarra mentioned on his account, this is the kind of tweet he threw out there, but they're updating Gamerscore Leaderboard soon. Will be some good changes. Talk soon about them. I have no idea what this could be. Like, what do you think? Just like sorting functions? Or what do you think could be part of this?
I'm wondering universal.
That'd be pretty nice, wouldn't it?
Kind of. I don't know. I feel like there's just too many people and it gets kind of messy, but I don't know. And Microsoft, from kind of what I understand, doesn't really do a very good job at resetting people. So I don't know. I guess now that it's like Xbox One heavy, and apparently you still can't cheat that. So I don't know.
Yeah, but like
we'd have to see.
You got to think when you're at the I don't want to say we're the cream of the crop, but when you have higher gamer score than most people, that those kind of get filtered out with all like the garbage people at the bottom who just
yeah. But I'm thinking people that cheat like 500K, like you just go and you just pop everything, and don't care, and then it takes you 6 months to get reset. So you just have the leaderboards clogged up with. I mean, that's what's so nice about TA is that stuff all gets filtered out because people actually get investigated.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, you look at that number, how often do those people happen versus more of the, oh yeah, I have a tag, I have 2 games on it, and that's it. I think for every one, person that goes and unlocks, 500,000 of illegitimate gamer score versus how many low-level people. I think from a relative ranking, most people that are 100,000 gamer score plus will be in a higher percentile. I think it would just be funny to see who actually has more gamer score than Stallion.
Yeah, which is obviously not legitimate.
Whoa. Why would you quit? It could be real.
I guess,
the guy just never joined TA.
World record and stuff. Oh, okay.
Completely under the radar gamer score junkie.
Yeah.
I bet.
I think percentiles would be interesting though, because that's going to be mostly accurate. Like you're not going to have enough illegitimate stuff to really throw you off. So that would be cool. I mean, we give you an idea at least.
For sure.
So hopefully it'll be cool.
Did you guys get the private message from at TrueAchievements regarding the new Minecraft updates?
I did.
Yeah, bummer, huh? I'm not looking forward to those. So, of course,
they look easy though.
The 360 version usually gets their lists before the 1 version, so you can expect this to be on the 1 version. But they're getting title update number 40, adding 6 new achievements, all related to the battle systems that they've implemented, the arenas, the mini games, all that stuff in relation to battle. So it shouldn't be too hard to boost those, but just they keep adding more and more.
I still haven't done the last title update. I haven't even touched it.
I haven't either.
I mean, I need to find a world with that.
There's an ongoing TA session for it. Like I guess something in the early September 4th, I think. Somebody's kind of hosting their world, and they're just going to pull people in. So I'm going to jump into that and see if I can get that.
I might do that as well. That seems like a
good use of your time.
A week from today, yeah. I would like to get that done. Fortunately, I haven't started the 1 version. I don't think that'll happen unless somebody wants to pass everything to me. But then I have to do all the further title updates twice. So
for sure.
I don't know. We'll see.
I should mention before we get too far. Leapfrog we finally had some eliminations
and some drama.
Really,
two people eliminated yesterday. Spiral Gamer Pro, Midnight Delight. We're on 24.2 is the achievement ratio you need. Lucal Dino has got it so far for today. And Carnage and Origin Garbo Man, not quite. You say there's drama, Damien? What kind of drama?
Oh, you haven't read the forum?
I have
This
not.
is last day. Yeah, those 2 are going out today, supposedly. And who made the cut today?
Lucal Dino.
Yeah, he'll be
the winner.
He will be winning.
And they're just giving up, or what?
Yeah, something. I think it came down to from what I read. Carnage had early access to KI, the new DLC. So that just started the whole debate on if people have early access and unlocking the achievements for that ratio, if that's fair versus the other. And then, these people, I can days they have planned out. And quite frankly, they're at over 100 days now. So for a lot of people, it's, just.
People are saying it's almost annoying now.
Yeah, and it's
that's
like,
really what it gets to.
Yeah, and it becomes to a, sometimes in that strategy of forfeiture in chess, right? It's if looking down the road, I'm already going to lose. There's no way I'm going to win this. I can lead to you. It's, I guess, and now the argument, some people, it's like, no, you need to go to the end until you fail. Well, isn't technically bowing out the same thing? It doesn't make it any less of a victory. It's basically they conceded. Yeah, you're going to beat me. You win.
I can see it. Anyway, so there you go. Sounds like we got a winner. Lucaldino. If I pronounced his name right. Dinino. Anyway, congrats on that leapfrog action. Hopefully we can get a new contest up and going. Keep your eyes on the TA. As part of the community events organizer, keep your eyes on the TA pages for some fun stuff that might be coming up. That's all I'm going to say about that. Something else that people say are likely annoying is me talking about Destiny, but I'm going to do it anyway. There was an image on the Xbox store. I don't know if you guys saw this. It says Destiny and then price free. It looks like it's got free with a little dagger that says contains in-app purchases. Rumor is that Destiny's going to go free to play. The vanilla version is going to go free to play with when Rise of Iron comes out, and of course, because you need to buy all the new content to catch up, but you'll at least get to play the full base game. Which, if that's the case, you get all the achievements then, and they would be available to you. So you get the 1,000 out of that, and then I don't know if Taken King would be included. That's an extra 250. And then whatever Rise of Iron has, likely another 250. But if you're interested in playing, there you go. Now that with all the new mechanics and everything they've got, they've kind of patched over the story. I really like the game. So if you're wondering why I like it so much, you may have an opportunity to play it for free if you haven't yet.
It's kind of not that surprising though, because you see how cheap the base Destiny has gotten.
Oh yeah,
it's been on sale for Best Buy new $5 over and over and over again, and it's they're not making any money on the base game anymore, so they'd be better off giving it away and collecting money from the DLCs, etc. So
yeah, I'm curious if this will open up the Crucible to everybody. Obviously, if the Crucible matches that's the PvP player versus player modes. The matches where light level plays into effect, like the Iron Banner or Trials, where how high of a level you are is how good your player will be. Those will obviously be walled off to anyone playing Vanilla Destiny, because in Vanilla Destiny you can get to a maximum of 170 light level, I think. I don't think you can get up to 335. Now, maybe you can with the vanilla content, but I don't think so. Back when it was the base, you could only get to 170 and level 20 at the time. Now, of course, they changed all the things. So tell you the truth, I don't even know what base game is anymore. But it'd be interesting. I mean, the idea then is just, hey, let's just get a bunch of people into the multiplayer matches, right, to dilute the pool, so you're not getting so many of these really bad connections and trying to matchmake with people who are all over the world. If we flood it with people playing for free, then you probably get better matchmaking of local connections versus trying to, get the guy who's out in Abu Dhabi and, all these just random places all over the world. Because that's the one thing that's really struck. I've been playing some multiplayer on that, trying to get one of the moments of triumph things going, and I'm getting some really bad connections, and it's super frustrating. When I just give me my kills. I wish I could boost this, and I'm sure I technically could, but I'm not going to go down that road. Bunch of game announcements that I'm really excited about. They'll start off with The Witness. Jonathan Blow's The Witness was PlayStation PC, only came out in January-ish. People love this. They're talking Game of the Year with this one, going up against Inside. Again, feel free to argue that all you want, but it's, I'm excited. I really loved Braid, Jonathan Blow's first game. It was one of my favorite games of all time. Looking forward to Witness. Does Witness do anything for you guys?
I haven't really seen much on it.
Yeah, other than I'm with you. I loved Braid. Braid was amazing. One of the best. I think my second favorite Xbox Live Arcade game. Other than that, yeah, I would say, yeah, I'll definitely probably pick it up.
Fantastic. Now, of course, this isn't. I mean, this is probably more like Myst than Braid. It's first person puzzling, and they're very challenging puzzles that you're learning kind of mechanics on how to solve them, involving lots of lines and things. Anyway, but yeah, apparently it's just fantastic. So. There's that. Now, I don't think any of us fit in this side, but this is definitely up Tarragon's road. The game Allison Road. It was a survival horror game. We mentioned it in the past. Looks scary as all get out. Anyway, it got canceled, which is a bummer. Well, it got uncanceled this week, and so people are kind of looking at this as the PT spiritual successor. Because the PT just took, it's just a demo, but it took everyone by storm. So this is very reminiscent of that. Man, it looks so scary. Have you guys seen any clips from this at all?
No.
Terrifying. Do you like survival horror? I don't think this crew does.
I just sent a link to you, Fream, but it's the Church in the Darkness. It's supposed to take a fictitious cult around the same time as the Jonestown. Your cousin has gone down to South Africa, and you have to infiltrate this cult from the inside. So I don't know if it's necessarily survival horror in the sense that it's zombies and the undead, but you're stomping around and not there. You're trying to avoid. So I like some of the stuff in that genre, but I think it really just sometimes depends on. I'm not like a jump scare for the sheer sake of a jump scare.
Oh yeah, I hate that.
See, my problem with the genre is it's one of those things that I have to really set a chunk of time for and commit to. That's all I'm going to play, and when I play it, I'm going to be totally focused on it. I don't know. I've had the Silent Hill collection for a long time, and I've really wanted to play it, but it's just the same thing. I don't have that chunk of time to really dedicate to it to get everything out of it. And I wanted to play The Evil Within, but the same thing where I don't want to just kind of not give it all the attention that it should have. So I end up kind of missing out on a lot of games in the genre, I feel like.
I thought that's why Left 4 Dead was great, because it was the smaller episodes, so it didn't take as much as the time commitment like Straight Shot. You could get by, and if you didn't come to it for a week or two, it wasn't like you were completely...
I don't know. I have a lot of issues. I mean, I enjoyed Left 4 Dead 2, don't get me wrong, but I have a lot of issues in general with Left 4 Dead, just stuff that mostly to do with the way people talk about it, not so much with the game itself. And its price point. I have a big problem with its price point when it was released.
That's interesting. I was just going to say, I don't like the genre in general, but I love Left 4 Dead. So I don't know. I wouldn't even put Left 4 Dead in that same category. It's too actiony for that. At least in my opinion. I was
going to say that too. I feel like Left 4 Dead is it's more of a first person shooter than it is anything else.
Yeah.
I think.
Agreed. Finally, the last announcement that I absolutely just love. Toe Jam and Earl is coming back. It's going to be published by Adult Swim. It's they're going back to the old school Genesis version with that isometric view with the evolving map as it goes and the wacky humans all over the place. I am so excited for this game. I just can't wait.
See, I never got to play Toe Jam and Earl because I saw it a few times. I'm like, that game looks cool. It looks, just like the box art looked cool, and they kind of, it's like funny aliens. But it was always too expensive. It was, I don't know why. It was always way more than all the other games. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to pay that much for it. And I never did. I never got it. Now I feel like I should go and play it.
Toe Jam and Earl, best game on the Genesis. I'm just going to say that.
I'd probably have to agree with you.
It is
better than
quintessential 90s game. Yeah. Just, yeah.
And it's so unique. There literally is nothing like that game. Like even today. There's nothing even close to that experience. It's so much fun. Man, that game is just pure fun on every level.
And I remember the feeling you would get, like if you went deep into the game and you were talking to the guy and identified like what the randomizer package was, you were like, you're just locked in. But like as you went and you opened a gift, it would be whatever. You'd have to like, it'd be question marks. And so all of a sudden it's like, you got rocket shoes and you're like, oh no, I can't deal with the rocket shoes right now. I don't have a good piece of land. But next time you got that same package, you'd be like, oh, okay, I got rocket shoes. I can use this at a good time. Well, one of them was the randomizer. And when you opened it, it switched all your packages up again. But you could talk to a guy and he would tell you what's in those. And so if you found that, but I remember like you opened it and you heard the drrrn, and it would just randomize all the packages. And you're like, no, it's just a travesty.
We talked earlier about the best games of all time. And it's almost a meaningless conversation, right, to have that, because how do you define that and stuff? Same way, like, it's almost impossible to say what the best video game soundtrack of all time. But if you're going to make a list, Toe Jam and Earl has to be on your list. It has to be.
So good.
I need to go play this now. I mean, listening to you guys talk about it, it sounds fantastic. And it always looked good. It looked really cool. Like, but it was just like, I could buy Toe Jam and Earl, or I could buy like these other 3 games. Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm going to get all 3 of these instead of Toe Jam and Earl this week or whatever.
I will admit it is way more fun with a friend, although you have to deal with split screen. But it's great because then when you meet up in split screen and the two split screens get merged into one, and Earl will be like, "Hey, what's up, Toe Jam?" And they give the old high five. And
so when you get to the same place, the screen's unsplit.
Huge, yeah.
That's super cool. Like especially for back then, that's pretty cool.
Yes, and if you actually bring your 2 characters together, you high five, which is awesome, and the person with more health gives some of their health to the person with less health. So it's very, very cool.
So is it like what kind of genre is it? Is it like a beat 'em up or something, or like an adventure game, or what is it?
Wow, I literally don't know a genre that it fits into.
I agree. Like what? It doesn't really have a genre.
It's an isometric exploration game. I don't even know how I would define it.
Would it be the open world of Sega Genesis, like before that was a thing? That was
the
as close as you could get? Yeah.
It is, depending on the mode you play, it's procedurally generated, just random environments.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's also very cool for how old it is.
It's a procedurally generated map. There is an elevator in the map, and at times there are pieces to your ship. At certain levels, there's pieces to your ship. That's what you're going to collect. And then all over the place is just bad guys and presents. And sometimes, NPCs that you can interact with. But you always start on an island in the beginning, and then you take the elevator up to level 2. And as you have this like fog of war, and as you go exploring and you go near the edges of the land then sometimes will shoot out and turn into a new piece of land, right? And you go and explore that area. Every time you're above, you start at level 1. And when you take the elevator up, you go to level 2. Well, the edges of that world then are open space. And if you fall from level 2, you go down to level 1. And so you have to take the elevator back up to level 2. So like sometimes bad guys will knock you off and you'll fall down to the level below you. And sometimes you get those rocket skates and you shoot off the edge into space and then fall to the next level. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm on a thin bridge. And then you launch into space again. You fall down 2 levels. I mean, it's just great. And so, you just walk around opening packages, trying to find pieces to your ship. And, some packages are good. Probably like 60% of them are good. 20% of them are like, they don't really do anything. And then 20% of them actually like are negative. Like you either eat poisoned food or the randomizer's bad. or bad guy shows up or whatever. And that's just the fun thing. You get these random toys, presents that open up, and you just, who knows what's in it.
So I was just going to say, Wiki gives it action/dungeon crawler.
Interesting.
Okay, I guess I can see that.
Especially when you like thinking back now, when you're, as you're saying, kind of going from the up elevator and back down, getting the chest crate. Yeah, I could see it. I mean, it doesn't have the gauntlet theme or
just like a home world, though, like a home space that's safe with shops and
nothing
stuff.
like that.
Yeah, no.
And then you go into the same dungeon and it's like repopulated. I mean, that's how I kind of think of a dungeon crawler.
Yeah, it's
maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I'm with you, and it's so unique. Again, like there's just this is why this news is so exciting, because if they can recapture that and kind of enhance that, it's been 25, 30 years since this game came out, and if they can just do this again, it'll be amazing, and they should, because it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Especially now with like potential for kind of it being smaller, like a AAA indie that like a $20-$30 price point, when you can make it just like the Genesis game and not get a bunch of criticism for it. Mm-hmm. You don't have to try and make it 3D and fancy and AAA. Just make it the same thing with better graphics and charge less money for it. And keep that like how Sonic did not make the transition well. Or something like this, I feel like could also.
Well, they did the weird 2D one that was a Panic and Funkatron, which is a disaster. That did not at all capture what the first one had. And then they made the Xbox original one that even released? That I never played that one, but they made one on the original Xbox.
Yeah, I believe it did come out, but I never played it either.
Yeah,
so.
it seemed closer, but they did some weird camera things, and it wasn't quite there. And of course, the install base was much lower, so I just don't think it had the traction. But anyway, all right, we should move on and let Damien go to bed.
It was released on Xbox. That was Toe Jam Earl 3 Mission to Earth.
Yeah. All right, Damien, it was good having you on.
Good night, guys.
We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't you get us with this next piece of news?
Killer Instinct Shadow Lords. So that is the new expansion that's kind of mysterious. It hasn't been a lot of info on till now. That is coming out, supposed to be next month, but apparently, according to a blog on TA, there is a way to access it early. Which apparently is you just sign a second profile in, and then Shadow Lords is there.
That's weird.
So I don't know if it works. I haven't tried. I'm way behind Killer Instinct anyway, so I'm not in a rush to play it. Even though, I bought the season pass and hardly used it, which is kind of waste there. But yeah, so it seems cool. It's like kind of an open, kind of like a campaign type mode, like a short campaign that you play multiple times, but it has microtransactions. Lovely. So yeah, give it a try. You might get in early. I don't know if they're banning people. Probably not. I don't imagine. Seems like something that could easily be done by accident.
Right.
So yeah, some nice ratios on those, like in the hundreds.
Nice.
Yeah, just because
nobody's
like
there.
50,000 people have started the game and 100 people have started the DLC. So yeah,
there you go. All right, and then our final piece of news I want to talk about is the Pit People. They closed beta. They sent, you can go to their website, thebehemoth.com, and sign up. I don't know if they're still accepting registrations or not, but I got my email saying I am in for the closed beta. This is not the Zed to Zed one that I think Damien's doing as well, but this is me as Fream.
I think we should be in as we'll probably do that on Shovelware.
Yeah, it runs from September 8th to September 15th. I'm pumped. I love Behemoth games. I think they're super fun, so I can't wait to...
I still haven't played any.
Really?
I know.
Yes. I mentioned earlier my second favorite arcade game of all time was Braid. My first is Castle Crashers. Man, that game is...
everybody talks about Castle.
Oh, God. I will play that game It's probably the game I've played the most, or at least up there for place 1 through 5 for the Xbox 360. That game is so fun. I love that game so much. The other ones are okay, but Castle Crashers is perfection to me.
Yeah, it's great. It really is.
And to clarify, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying like people really talk about Castle Crashers like it's a fantastic game.
It's so good
in a good way. Like,
so good.
Yeah, absolutely is. All right. Listener feedback time. We have our monthly podcast review email come through, and there is a brand new iTunes review that I want to give a shout out to from Keith. Keith 271179, and he says, "Awesome show. Been listening to the show for a while now. Thanks, and for finally getting around to reviewing it. All I can say is this is an amazing podcast for Xbox fans, especially achievement hunters. They've got a good balance to the hosts and keep the shows interesting and informative. They also do a great job involving their growing community of listeners in the show. Hopefully this podcast keeps going as I will continue to listening. Please give it a go." So thank you, Keith, for that. I really appreciate it. Again, anyone out there who wants to give an iTunes review or a podcast review for us, we would so love the feedback, and especially if it's positive, that would be wonderful. The rest of the shows or the rest of the feedback, there's a comment from NBA Kirkland on his blog. He was talking about the interview we had with Rich from TA. And one of the things that he was really keen on was talking about the global rarity that Rich had talked about, where like he had an opportunity from Microsoft to get access to those values. And he said, well, of course he didn't want to do it because it would take so much time to scan everybody all the time. But to me, I'm thinking, like, even if you just did it like once a quarter or every 6 months or something, you have like some frame of reference to the ending, just update and see what happened over the last. Like that can't be that much, right? Like I would love to see
storing that data though.
Global numbers. Well, I don't want to know. Well, but you could do it in a way that's not right. There, you could just take all the information and slot it and say, well. Because you don't necessarily need to know. You would need to know everybody's games, wouldn't you?
Yep. Unless you just did Gamerscore, but even then, like that's a lot of data. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. I don't want to know like all the people. Maybe if you just updated all the raw numbers, like so, even though we didn't have gamer tags associated with them, that it would be X many people, globally have played this game. And like, I don't care about who they are. You just make a tally mark every time that game comes up. So not that you're like syncing people's data per se, but you're just doing a counter. And so every time, you scan someone's tag and it's like, oh, they played all these games. They have all these achievements, tally. And then you can just add to the base level of all the achievements. And so you could say, site users, 300 have unlocked this out of 10,000 track gamers, and 300 or 5,000 global gamers have unlocked this out of 40 million tracked gamers or something.
You'd still have to enter all that in the database, though. Like even if you didn't have the gamer tag, you'd still have to have their user ID when you scanned it in that would be stored and rescanned every quarter or whatever. Like, I don't know.
Why would you have to store it though? You couldn't purge just their data after it was.
I don't know. If
maybe it would save time
so
if you saved them. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard bad things about purging things from databases. I don't know. Maybe if you built it to work like that, it'd be okay. But
I want global leaderboards. I want to know how I stack up to the rest of the world.
Talk to what's his name,
Mike Ybarra. Hook me up.
What's his name, guy?
But you have to feel like they do this already. I mean,
who, Microsoft?
Yeah, Microsoft. At least.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they could very easily. They just have to dump it in some kind of visual sortable format, but it's all going to be stored. I mean,
come on, we clamor for this stuff.
Hey, maybe it's that update coming.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be nice.
So, Grug, we have a follow-up on Grug regarding the FIFA 10 online achievements that he had mentioned. He in Tarragon, he said, I haven't had a chance to look at what the GI notes are for, because he doesn't have access. But looking at the FIFA 10 forums on TA, it looks like many of the online achievements are obtainable, but only because the game itself is super buggy. So that's why you can get them, is because the game's a disaster. And he said, with respect to achievements, they may just unlock fairly randomly. So that's probably why they haven't been flagged. He says when Tarragon gets access to GI, he'll push to have a warning on the title, because without those bugs, the achievements are, for all intents and purposes, discontinued.
Well, and that's like Skate. Skate has a lot of discontinued achievements that aren't technically discontinued because, well, they're marked as partially discontinued because you can get to a point where you can no longer unlock them. But if you have not unlocked any achievements in the game and you start from scratch and you make profile backups, you can unlock all the achievements. It's just going to be really hard and time consuming and require a lot of profile deletion and re-downloading and backing up and all kinds of goodies, but you can technically still do it. So it's kind of that same situation where it's just a bug in the game that can pop any of the achievements, and that includes the online ones that no longer can be obtained normally, or as they were intended to be obtained.
Right. All right, and final piece of listener comments are all related to my friend feed. I had asked, hey, episode 37 is recording this weekend. Any questions or topics you need us to discuss? We had already referenced the Xbox One Z, and Lord Chabello wants to know our favorite video game controller, but we've answered that as well. I think I was Xbox One. Crandy, you were the 360. Proulx, do you have a favorite controller?
Sort of. I actually had this discussion with Damien a couple of days ago. We were talking about controllers.
You talked about it again?
Yeah, we were talking like, okay, well, the 360, what's better? I like the 360 controller for a few reasons. I think the shape is better. I think the build quality is far better. Aside, I have not used an Elite controller, so I cannot speak for those.
Don't bake it.
Yes, that's right.
I just wanted to put that out there.
I will take that tip if I ever get one, which I kind of don't think I will unless it's free. So yeah, but Xbox 360 controller with an Xbox One D-pad would be my dream controller, because the Xbox One D-pad is the best D-pad on any controller in years. It is on point, but I couldn't care less for a lot of the changes from the 360 to the One controller, mostly in terms of quality. The other thing being the bumpers. The bumpers are higher quality, but they're also really hard to press. Don't like that.
What about you, Proulx?
That's interesting to hear you say that. I definitely like the One controller better. I would say the One controller, in my opinion, is the best. Followed very closely, probably a tie between the 360 and the Wavebird from GameCube. It's just, mostly now we're playing One games. And so every now and again when I have to boot up my 360, it's clumsy and awkward. It feels, the sticks are a little slippery, and mostly the grips is what it's about. They're a little too thick. I think the 360 controller was top of the line at the time. And I think 90% of the improvements that they made, the changes that they made for the One, actually did improve that controller. So I'm going to go with the One controller. But again, a little bit of a caveat here. I have the Elite. That might be part of it. I also just recently got the S system, and the new controller as well is fantastic. Again, a lot of subtle, tiny improvements. Really good stuff.
That I was actually interested in, the Bluetooth capability particularly in with potential for Windows Phone. I like that. Now, I actually had my friend get a controller and try it on Windows Phone. It'll connect to a Windows Phone, but most games do not support controllers, which is unfortunate because I was hoping some of the more difficult platformers like Missplosion Man, things like that, might become really doable with a controller. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, but it's still cool that you can connect a controller to a Windows Phone now. I guess the other thing I should clarify too is I don't dislike the one controller. I still think like it is a very, very close second, but if I had a Cronus, I would use a 360 controller when I was playing on my one, like 90% of the time. Just if it's a game where I'm not using the D-pad, I'd be using a 360 controller.
Interesting.
Yeah. There you have it. Well, speaking of Windows Phone, Cinecide asks, if you have a Windows Phone, do you use it as your primary phone, or do you stick to an Android or an iPhone?
Absolutely not. Windows Phone is abysmal. That operating system is terrible. I've thought that since I got my Windows Phone 7, and they have not improved since. Windows Phone 10, I think I've said before on the podcast, I think it is worse than Windows Phone 7. And if it wasn't for the ability to reinstall delisted games on Windows Phone 10, it would have been off my phone the second I tried to scroll. Because they even managed to break scrolling. It doesn't work. Nothing is fluid. Nothing works well. When you don't, if you don't update it immediately, everything stops working. Like your Microsoft account can no longer sign into Xbox. Then you have to update it, which takes hours. For some reason. I don't know why. And then it deletes all your data. So I hate Windows Phone. I hate everything about it except for achievements.
There you go.
And they're cheap. That is nice though. Like if I needed a burner phone that was a smartphone, like Windows Phone is on point because they're like $30. Like
I bought mine. I bought mine for $25. In fact, it's certainly not my primary phone. I, in fact, have 3 phones. I have my personal phone, my work phone, and my achievement phone. But I haven't experienced Windows Phone 10 yet. But I can totally see that happening. Those frustrations. I have an older Windows 8 phone, which I literally exclusively use. Like I said, I spent $25 on this thing for achievements. And if that is your goal and that's what you want to do, I cannot recommend it enough. Because you're just playing.
It's totally worth it.
Yeah, you're just
for $25. It's no brainer. Like, even if you only play 10 games, whatever, that's like $2.50 a game plus whatever 99 cents to buy the game. Like, and those are like 200 points each. They're like arcade games.
Yep. Yeah. So I can't recommend enough for that reason, but certainly would not use that phone as my primary phone.
And I use an Android myself, HTC specifically. Yep. And I do not own a Windows phone.
I'm a BlackBerry guy now. Hit me up on BBM, none of you that have it.
There you go. McLovin Legend asks us if you have any advice on Japanese consoles, such as an idiot's guide to Japanese consoles.
I think we talked about doing this before. We should probably do this like next episode or something. I can write up a guide.
Do it. Yeah.
There's a few things. I have to do a little tiny bit of research on one service I've never used, but I've heard good things about because I'm fortunate in that I have a friend in Japan that can send me things. And I realize that that's not a realistic tip for most people. So there is another way to get things like I do. It costs a little bit of money, but it's probably worth it if you're doing a big order. So let's do that next week. I'll do a little, maybe I'll even just record it sometime during the week, but we'll do it.
There you go.
I'll do a little research and put together a bundle.
Mighty Mango asks us, how about Lies of Astaroth maker iFree Studio bribing people for good reviews with freemium content? After achievement issues, connection issues, and a DDoS attack. I actually hadn't heard about that story, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that
it doesn't surprise me at all.
That there are companies out there saying, hey, how about a positive review, and maybe we'll throw some gems or jewels or whatever the freemium currency is. I mean, you're essentially paying for a review now. my guess is the reviewers did not disclose that they received payment for said review, and that it was an advertisement. But I mean, if they're on the up and up about it, I don't have a problem with that. But my guess is that's not the case, and that they were being subversive about it. That's not cool.
I don't know. It doesn't surprise me, especially because I don't know. I mean, ever since I think since before our interview with him, I followed Christian Allen on Twitter, and I know he posts. I don't know if it's every time, but sometimes I always think they're really funny. When a reviewer is like, "Hey, give me some codes, and we'll give you a good review," and they'll like out them with their username and all, and I think it's really funny. But like that happened, like he posts that. I wouldn't say frequently, but it's not like it's uncommon. Like he has had multiple posts that I've seen of people sending that to him about his games. So the fact that this game that was kind of, I assume, getting bashed because it was a disaster when it launched,
right?
It's like, hey, we'll give you some stuff that costs nothing to us that you're probably not even going to use for you to give us a good review. Especially just kind of smaller outlets that are like, yeah, why not?
Right.
But,
lame.
Yeah, it's pretty lame and unfortunate that that's how things happen. I don't know. I do really enjoy getting codes for games to review, but even getting a free game is almost a conflict of interest. Because, when we review, I think we're fair. I think we try and be fair.
Yeah.
But we really make an effort to be fair. And, when somebody gives you a code for something that they worked on, especially if you're a small studio of a couple people or something, like, you don't want to bash them.
Right. I mean, they've worked really hard on it.
Exactly.
And then the other thing, too, is if you get it for free, then that takes some of your feeling of the price out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So then you've got to think really critically about, okay, would I actually spend any amount of, a specific amount of money to get this experience that I just had?
Yeah.
So we've gotten games that we've had unfavorable reviews of, that's for sure. Yeah,
but at the same time, because they're given to us for free, I am a little bit, I'll say I am a little bit more hesitant to just really rip on them. Now, that being said, most of the stuff we got doesn't deserve to be ripped on.
No, it's good.
Even with it being free, and I don't like to, really do that because, you're a small developer and you gave us a code for free for your game for free. And we talk about it for 15 minutes. So,
yeah.
But even with that, like, and that's almost nothing, that's little stuff. Then, and that can influence. So,
yeah.
And, if you really wanted an unbiased review place, they would pay for every game. To be truly unbiased, you would be paying for every game out of pocket. But I don't think anyone does that. So
actually, I'd be curious to know if any of our listeners have heard our, things in Shovelware Cemetery. I know when In Between just went on sale, and we had that big discussion about In Between and for the Playing Zed challenge earlier. I
love that game. That's so good.
It's great, and it's so I think it was NBA Kirkland had mentioned it. He's like, hey, on the recommendation of Zed to Zed, I'm excited to buy In Between on the sale. So I'd be curious to know if anyone else out there has picked up any games that we've had talked about on the show, and that it's actually a legitimate source for a company to say, oh, hey, people actually follow through on things they talk about, because we play a lot of games that we really enjoy and have some fun and know how to get achievements in. So
that was a good one for achievements, as long as you're willing to play the whole game again in one sitting. But
right,
it's not that big of a deal.
X Towers has a follow-up question asking, what is your favorite free game on the Xbox One right now? He completed Gems of War, and he was kind of hoping for new achievements because it was enjoyable. And then Mighty Mango follows up saying, no more. The newest achievements suck. So I was excited to read that.
I'm going to say none of them. I don't know. Ben-Hur.
Free game.
Ben-Hur.
I don't think I play any free games on the Xbox One. I don't know. Neverwinter seems pretty solid.
It's definitely not
I haven't played
Roblox.
it. Oh, yeah, that's true. Roblox.
That's bad.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Project Spark, if that counts.
Yeah, I
No,
guess
Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct is free. Killer Instinct, for sure.
Okay.
Killer Instinct, you can get a lot out of that game for free. And not be at like a super disadvantage or anything either.
I like poker games, and I'm kind of liking Prominence Poker right now, but I don't. It's not like something I just really. I mean, I loved Happy Wars before it turned into pay to win content.
Oh yeah,
I have a lot. I have a lot of free games downloaded. Not a lot played, I guess.
Oh yeah, me too. I always put them in my history. But
yeah.
That's about it.
So
interesting. All right, let's get wrapping this show up. We've got Knobs and Discos to finish out here. A lot of stuff going on.
We've got some stuff in Knobs and Discos this week, unfortunately. So sort of Knobs and Discos. It's close enough. Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse might be delisted September 1st. So if you wanted to get the game, get it now, because I think it was Sega. Yeah, Sega. Sega of Japan announced it's going to be delisted. So it might just be in Japan. Well, they said discontinued. So we can only assume that it's digital. Because it is digital only, probably means delisted.
Right.
Now, that may just be in Japan, but given that it's a licensed game, probably going to be everywhere. So if you wanted to play it, pick it up. It's probably not going to go on sale before then. It's $15, a little steep, but I think it's good. But, I mean, it seems solid. I haven't read anything bad about it, so it's probably worth
I loved
$15.
it back on the Genesis. Went back in the 2D.
And then they redid all the graphics and stuff. It's still the same 2D thing, but they redid it
really
all.
nice.
Which is cool.
yeah, it was a good game back in the day.
So yeah. So there you go. That'll be gone.
That's an almost Knobs and Discos, sort of. Next, Ubisoft is shutting down some servers. So now I'm going to talk about this, in terms of the most pessimistic outlook, the kind of worst case scenario. But keep in mind that last time Ubisoft announced this, almost nothing went down. It was just the Uplay connection. So it was like Uplay or some kind of piece of an online component in these games. Like, you couldn't send gifts to each other anymore. They weren't tied to achievements. The Avatar servers, I believe, did go down. Yes. So those servers did go down, but those were the only discontinued achievements were the online achievements in James Cameron's Avatar. So currently we have, I believe it was either all of or almost all of the Call of Juarez.
Bound in Blood and the Cartel.
Yes, and those do have multiplayer achievements.
Yeah, there are 8 in Bound in Blood. There are 8 multiplayer achievements, and then 2 of them, they're actually listed in the TA story. So if you're curious of looking those up, you can see them. But there are 2 like money related ones that is much faster to earn money in multiplayer boosting sessions. So you can do it single player, so they're not going to be unobtainable, but it's going to take a lot longer.
Yeah.
So that's 10 affected achievements, 8 of which are very much dicey.
And the Cartel has 6, all multiplayer. Yep. That being said, though, pretty much all the achievements look super easy. So if these are games you're slightly interested in, I would recommend just going out and grabbing it and just knocking that multiplayer out, because it looks like something that can be done in, maybe 2-3 hour session for everything.
Right.
Other than maybe the money. I don't know about the money, but just glancing over the achievements, they look pretty much like win a match in every mode or whatever, and that's it. Next is Graw 2. I can say Graw again.
Drink.
Nothing is actually going to be discontinued in Graw 2. And also, I should mention, the Graw 2 servers apparently already went down.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it is. And particularly with Gra 2, I'm pretty sure they're not Ubisoft servers in terms of multiplayer. So I don't think this one's going anywhere. That being said, though, all of the achievements that are affected can still be earned in System Link. So that includes the ones with 5 gamer tags in the room. You just have to sign in 5 people on System Link and they will work. So yes, Hawks 2 has 12 achievements that are affected, that are online only. And then we have Might and Magic Duel of Champions Forgotten Wars, and that is everything. So this game relies on a server, and of all the games, this one I suspect will actually be going down. Because typically with those games that totally depend on a server, it's usually run by the publisher. So keep an eye out on that. It's been delisted, so if you don't already have it, you won't be able to get it. Looks like a tough completion. Only 5 people out of 233 have completed it. So probably not a big deal that it's going to. I don't know. Only 233 people have it, so not a lot of people are going to be affected by that.
Yeah.
But it does rely on a server, so if you want to complete it, I would get on that soon. And then the final thing.
Yeah, we got our email.
That's it for Ubisoft, and we did get an email from Tatey, and he gave us a heads up that Minecraft Pocket Edition on iOS is not working at all for achievements. And Mojang, however you say them, Mojang, are aware of the issue, and it should be resolved in the next update. So hopefully that's not permanent, and they'll get that all sorted. I suspect just a hiccup with the new achievement system on a new platform. So they are hopefully temporarily discontinued. So watch out for that. And I believe that is it for Knobs and Discos this week.
You bet it is. All right. And we've got our new, now weekly Shovelware Cemetery to look forward to. So here we go.
Shovelware Cemetery.
This week's Shovelware Cemetery, we have Dungeon Punks and Teslagrad, and now our weekly segment, so we can get through all the games and not have something like Teslagrad sit there for too long and then feel bad about leaving it for so long.
Wait, did you say weekly now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I thought you knew it was weekly.
Nobody tells me anything.
I thought we put it in the thing that we wanted to do weekly. We announced it on the podcast last week.
Oh, we did announce it? Well,
yeah, we did announce it.
I would probably have to listen to what we say.
Yeah, I guess so. No, we didn't even announce it on Shovelware Cemetery. Fream announced it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
That's how much I pay attention to things.
Anyway, our now weekly segment, we're going to start with Dungeon Punks. So it was published and developed by Hyper Awesome Entertainment, a PSA. It has at least 2 unobtainable achievements. There may have been more. I think there were just 2.
Yeah, just 2 for being
apparently
the new mode.
Right. Apparently the developer's aware of it and is working on a patch, but I mean, as always, you never know. So completionists beware for now.
And an Xbox Live price of $14.99.
Yes. So it is currently on TA. It's marked as a beat 'em up. I would not call it a beat 'em up. It has a kind of similar playstyle. Like, it's quite a stretch. But it plays more like an action RPG for sure.
I was getting remnants of Golden Axe personally.
Yeah, but Golden Axe, see, I would say it would if your level didn't play so much of a role.
True.
Because the level, like, you're basically going to absolutely have to replay each segment beyond the first one at least twice. Yeah. You're going to get partway through, you're going to level up once, and then it's going to be super easy. So, and that aspect I didn't really like, actually, because there's not really anything you can do about it. Just because you have to level up, you have to play it again. You play part of it, and it wasn't unfair. Like, it wasn't like you were grinding for hours or anything completing these levels. I just think that when you have a game like this in this kind of format, so the format too we should talk about is you have levels. So you start the level, you start the game, you're dropped in a level, you play the level, you beat it, and then after that, in between levels, you can change your gear, you can buy gear from the shop, you can change your spells. So,
well, and I think
you go to the next level, and then you can come back.
Yeah, and to also mention, you have a party system. So you start with, you can either pick a knight or the lizard thingy, a spellcaster. So it very much has, I guess, really RPG elements to it. You have different classes, and then you put together a party that goes through. Well, you put together who you pick.
And spells. That's something I forgot to mention too. That is definitely not beat 'em up. You use them quite a lot, actually. I thought it was just kind of a, you build it up and use it a couple times a level, but no, you're using them quite frequently.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely meant to be played with 3 people. Because when you play, well, actually, you might not have to replay the levels if you have 3 people, because the AI is not very useful.
Intelligent.
Yeah, they die a lot. And they just kind of take up screen space and make things hard to see.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I would say was somewhat, I'm not sure if obnoxious is the right term for it, but there was, when the enemies were coming on screen, and it really became hard to differentiate, not yourself, but who your teammates were from the AI to the enemies you were sometimes fighting, especially if you were... So it just became a big,
it's too busy, and the art style really does not help that.
It reminds me of early Flash animation, not super early Flash animation, but early through the say. It wasn't like great, but it was
early mid 2000s Flash games. And on that topic, it really reminds me, like, the gameplay too, it for anybody that played Adventure Quest, which a lot of people my age probably did, that was like the thing that ran on like high school computers or elementary school computers. It was like a Flash RPG. It was turn-based. This game, in terms of gameplay and art style, really looks a lot like Adventure Quest. And if Adventure Quest were an action RPG.
Yeah. I mean, to say, I guess, I did think that at least the story it tried to be slightly humorous. They gave it an attempt. I mean, we've had other games on here that have absolutely or completely nil on any type of story. So, I mean, it does have certain elements. It really seemed to almost have, like, it could have had some better potential, but it just seemed to come out as a very almost half-baked cake, right? Yeah. It's like, if certain...
And the story was like, it was trying to be kind of funny, and it was like, it was kind of clever. Like, you have, like I guess you want to say like medieval time kind of, fantasy setting.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you got like the evil shareholders and the stuff. It's just kind of funny, like just kind of a thing not to be taken too seriously. But yeah, like you said, it's just kind of, I don't know. Overall, I think it was just kind of forgettable.
Yeah. But and to that point, yeah, it's just, it had elements. It could have had a lot of potential, but just afterwards, it just didn't really seem to get that hook. And then again, even though I don't like to have it factor into the review of the game, but being an achievement-based thing, having glitched achievements for completing the game and whatnot, as it stands right now. And the one thing I will say, we do come back if they do change it and they become unobtainable. We do like to review and say, hey, that's happened, but I don't want it to be part of that impact of the game, like in our review saying, hey, assuming that it worked, is this game still, worth picking up? And it's just kind of, if you're really into that beat 'em up and you wanted more RPG element, but again, it didn't even feel like the RPG element was very developed.
It didn't really feel like an RPG or a beat 'em up.
Yeah, it was kind of both, but neither.
Yeah. And it's not like it did either of them poorly. like it didn't do either of them poorly, but it didn't do either of them well either. It didn't stand out.
Yeah.
Now, if you like a game to play with friends that's really quick and easy to pick up, and you've got friends locally, then I think it would really shine, because it takes 2 minutes to learn.
Yeah.
And you can just jump in real easy, no problem, at any time. Just kind of like arcade style, like push A to join, and there you go, you're in.
Yep.
But no online. So in this game in particular, I think online multiplayer would have gone a long way, especially at the $15 price point.
Yeah.
So I think we discussed this briefly before the show, and I think we're both going to have to go purgatory on this one. It's not bad. It's definitely not a bad game. It's just not. For $15, you could probably get something better, unless you're really after one of the things that it's doing.
Yeah. As I said, for me, yeah, agreed. Purgatory. I mean, again, if you want something couch co-op, you like the RPG, yeah, you might want to go for this. But for a lot of people, it's just very forgettable otherwise. So
now on to the next game that we both really, really, really enjoyed. We'll just start out with that. Teslagrad.
I saw you got the completion today.
I did. I just finished it this afternoon after the roaches. I was fighting the final boss, and there crawls Roach out of the table. I have to deal with that. That's fun. Now, this one is also $15, published by Snow Cannon Games, developed by Rain Games, and it is I would call it a puzzle platformer. I know you were saying you thought it was more Metroidvania.
And actually, I want to kind of think on this note, it definitely is a platformer with puzzle elements. This is, I think we argued a while ago, In Between. In Between is a puzzler game with platform elements. This is a platformer with the inverse, because
absolutely platforming is the core for sure. It's definitely about the timing and the movement. It's not crazy hard, but it is definitely a platformer. It's more like Oddworld. If you've played Oddworld, where it is at its core a platformer, there are puzzles to solve, but a lot of it comes from being skilled at platforming. Yeah. Now, but it's still very puzzle heavy for sure.
There were definitely times, and you probably, not to give spoilers to people, but there's 36 collectibles you have to get in the game to get the full ending. And I think we would both agree, number 30, the one where...
I'd have to look at what number 30 is.
That's the one with the you set the trigger off, and then you have to make it all the way up the tower.
That's a real platformer. I think I spent an hour on that one. Maybe not quite an hour, but I spent a good chunk of time.
Everything, and I will say, I did. I got 33 of the scrolls without looking at the map, and then I beat the game. And then the 3 that I missed, 2 of them were just does, where you're like, oh yeah. I even one of them I'd walked past going, I bet you there's one right up there. And you look like, oh yeah, there was. And then one of them was, oh yeah, I remember seeing that, and I just never went back to get it. And then the third one was on the way to get that one.
I think I ended up missing about 8. I don't know how I missed that many.
Yeah.
I missed a lot.
But with that being said, without, going through and getting, all of them were very close to find. And the game, even if you didn't use a, guide to figure out where the few you missed are, it's not like you'd be searching for hours on end.
You would definitely find them. And once you know the map too, and as you gain more of the items as you go, it gets even easier to navigate the map.
Yep.
So you could realistically run through every room again in probably under an hour.
Oh yeah. And I think that was the nice thing, though. The game, everything was doable. And at first it was like, how am I ever going to do this? I remember you're complaining about the last boss, like, this is hard. And I'm sure now if you went and did it again, you could do it on your first or second try. Once you get the pattern,
the final boss is tough. Just is tough in general. There's that's a real platform boss.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was great though. And the funny thing is, it had a cool story, but there was no text.
No text, no dialogue. It was, and Go ahead.
Entire story was told just from the things going on.
Yep.
Even the collectibles that kind of build on the story, there's no text. It's just they're numbered, so you see the order of start to finish, and that's it.
Yep.
Is really cool.
Yeah.
And the graphics also, I know you're just going to say something about that, but they are done by hand.
Yep.
Which is super cool. It looks awesome. I think there's a few effects like a few of the fire effects and stuff that I'm pretty sure are not done by hand, but like the core and almost everything in the world definitely is, which is cool. It makes it look really good.
Yeah, and I think that was the thing. Like, even from the start of picking this up, it was a game that you really appreciate. Like, even before you're like, well, I think maybe the first few minutes getting in, like, okay, what's going on? There's no real tutorial. You're just running away. You get in this castle and you're going, okay, what am I doing? But I mean, within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you really just get this appreciation for, wow, this actually looks very clean, well to control. Okay.
Oh, it sounds good. The sound was awesome too.
Yeah, the music, and that's the other thing. It's like without the dialogue, without text, but what it did just from how the presentation went, the sound which played in just really well with it. It was a game that I found, like, I think my total play time was, it says 14 hours, and that's probably with a lot of pausing and sitting at menus for a while because, I didn't juggle this with work. But, I mean, you could get through the full game in about, I think, 8 hours, 8 to 9 hours. And
I think my final time was 8 hours, 1 minute, and I left it on when I went to the dog park for almost an hour. So about 7 hours for me.
Yeah, so the game,
definitely the 6 to 8 hour range for the full completion is definitely, I think, correct. If you've never played it before, of course.
Yeah, so for $15, and again, I look at some of the other things we've done for a one-time playthrough. I mean, that's the only thing I really was unfortunate about it. It was relatively short in that you could get it done in under 8 hours, and once you've had everything unlocked, I mean, there are the challenges. I don't know if you've tried them. They're tough.
There's also New Game Plus.
Yeah.
I didn't try that either.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could go back if you really wanted to play through it again. That's the only thing. I mean, I felt like for having gone through it once, done it, I mean, I guess I could go through it and try it a little more challenging, which is, if you really want to just set that bar for yourself, it's there to do it. But, for just being done in 6 days, it was nice. For a $15 game, it very was encapsulated. I feel that I got the full story, being that I beat the story without having all of the collectibles first, which...
Yeah, see, I didn't do that. Because you told me and you warned me that I'd have to beat the final boss again. So when I got to that part, I turned around and I got the rest of the collectibles.
Yeah.
And then I went back and I beat it. So I guess the other thing too is it felt, I think this is what it was going for, but it felt like a real from the time Super Nintendo game with, a few effects that the modern systems can do.
Yeah.
But and it was in a good way. It wasn't just like, oh, they were lazy into pixel graphics or whatever.
Yeah.
It was very, and just the play style, the bosses, the setup, the layout really felt Super Nintendo.
Yeah. No, in a
really good way.
Yeah. No, and I would even say, that maybe not Super Nintendo feel, but the control. Oh, I forgot to mention this in Dungeon Punk, but Dungeon Punk, you could only use the directional pad. It didn't use the thumbsticks, which was frustrating. Teslagrad, it was on the other way around. You could use both. I found I needed to use the directional sometimes just because I was overshooting. But the controls in this game were just
solid.
Exactly.
They were perfect.
Yeah.
This is perfect platformer control. Every platformer should control like that because they're perfect.
Yeah, and I think for the price point, it's perfect. It gives you everything you want for 15. Nice, tight story, a good sense of. I wouldn't, for 15, having even beat it in 6 to 8, wouldn't sit there and go like, oh man, that was too. You're like, you know what? That was really good. It was well done. I liked coming back to it, and I really, pushed to want to have that completed.
Yeah, and I didn't really put it down. I didn't want to put it down. Yeah. Like I played it until I went to bed last night, and then when I started playing today, I just played it until it was done. and it was good. I really enjoyed it. A couple other notes. We were talking before the show how we've had this for a while, and it kind of fell back because we got overloaded, and so we've had it for a few months without reviewing it, and we were kind of feeling bad, like, oh, we should have played this sooner, we should have reviewed this sooner because it was so good. But it turns out it's actually been out since 2013. So it was originally released on PC in 2013, and then it made it to the PlayStation consoles shortly after, then Wii U, and then years later now in 2016 it made it to Xbox One. So it has actually been out for a long time, which I was kind of surprised by, that it took that long to make it to Xbox One. It even got a physical release on PS3, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I get for not playing PlayStation.
I guess so.
I miss these things.
Not that we probably would have made it to it, because that's the thing, is like, even on TA, I think only 500 people have started it, so it seems like it was kind of overlooked, which is a shame.
Yeah, 518 track gamers, 199 have completed. Yeah, but I would say this is one of those ones definitely heavily recommend to people if they...
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. Now, the other thing is we kind of disagree. I don't think it's Metroidvania. You do. So I don't think it is, because, even though you go through the game, you get new abilities and tools, and you can then go back and re-navigate the same areas and get to different places. I think the core of those type of games is combat, which it kind of has at the end, but not really. Yeah. It's a bit of a stretch. I mean, yes, there's boss fights, but it's not traditional combat, and it's only during those boss fights.
True.
So I don't think it is. Do you disagree with that?
Oh, no, and I guess maybe to clarify, on the combat piece, yes, because there's very minimal combat, but in the sense that in Metroid, you start the game with the base Samus, and then you have to get the special weapons later, the high jump boots and everything else that really allows you to go back and do things. It's not in a traditional platformer. I think of, you start at 1-1, you go to the end, you don't go back to 1-1. Metroidvania style, you have that ability to go back around the map with more abilities. Yes, it doesn't have the combat element, but it's not a, oh, if you miss something, you're never going to be able to go back and get to it again. It's, oh, you're going to be back here later.
Yeah. So and I guess, in that sense too, it literally finishes where it starts, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
In a couple of ways. It finishes where it starts, but yeah, it was good. Very, very, very highly recommend it. Yeah, easy completion. Even if you're not good at platformers, might take you a little bit longer, but it's totally doable.
Maybe a little bit of swearing, but you'll make it. Just stick with it.
It's super fun though, and I think we both agree on this one that it is Sanctuary for sure.
Definitely Sanctuary.
With that concludes this week's Shovelware Cemetery.
All right, till next week, I guess.
Yes, I know. We only have all these games to play.
I know.
All right, we're in the home stretch of the show. We've got a couple backwards compatible titles this week. Call of Duty 2 was announced for backwards compatibility. So your initial foray into Call of Duty on the 360 is fully available to you. And then, of course, even older than that, Joust makes an appearance. I mean, wow, these are some archaic games. But there you go. 2 more backwards compatible titles. We've got also 2 game delays to mention. Well, a game and another delay. So the game delay is the World War I shooter, not Battlefield 1, but it's a Verdun. That was a title that's out on Steam right now, and they are saying that they're the Xbox One and other console releases are being delayed. It was supposed to come out on the 30th, and as of now, they don't quite know. So if you're interested in that, you can play it on Steam, but you have to wait a little bit longer before it comes out on the Xbox One. The other game delay that we should note is The Division. Okay, well, how do you have a delay in a game that's already out? Well, it's not the game; it's the 2 remaining DLC packs that were supposed to be out. They have 2 larger expansions that they were planning, and Ubisoft said that they gotta put them back a little bit. Massive, the people who are working on those DLCs say that they need to kind of tweak some things, improve the gameplay, and try and get an infusion of interest back in that game. It kind of tailed off pretty hard on that from what I hear. Of course, there'll be, fixes to other things in the game. They'll likely still kind of have some patches to keep going that were intended for this DLC release. They'll probably move those up in the schedule and get those taken care of. But you'll have to wait. The survival DLC, that's the third add-on here, was supposed to come out already this summer, but not happening. They haven't quite said when we should expect that. And then the final DLC, The Last Stand, that was supposed to be out early 2017. It was supposed to come out in the winter, like Christmas time. Well, you're going to have to wait. So who knows what that means, whether or not they rethink of the mechanics or space these things out a little bit better. I don't have an answer for you. So anybody out there who's still enjoying this game, let me know. Because I was so excited about this, and I was waiting for the price to drop a little bit, and it, I felt like this thing just tailed off so quickly. It was pretty crazy. But anyway, all right. Well, let's move into zombie news as we wrap up here. This was just posted, so if you're on our Discord page, you actually saw this news article already, but Urban sent it to me, and there was it was on Kevin Smith and Greg Grunberg's Geeking Out podcast. They were chit chatting, and the writers of the Deadpool movie, Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese. They made a comment that I don't think was planned per se, but here's the excerpt from it. It says, "That is breaking news that we're on Zombieland 2 right now. We're sitting with Woody Harrelson tomorrow, and we're going to start sort of walk him through some of the stuff we want to do. It's all the cast is pretty excited." Add me to the list of pretty excited. I loved Zombieland. I thought that movie was fantastic. The cameo, if you haven't seen it yet, I won't ruin who the cameo is. It was fun. The whole movie was just fun, and I think Jesse Eisenberg did a great job. I think one of my favorite things was the rules and how they would pop up about, cardio or rule number 4 or double tap. Those were just great, and how they were integrated into the movie. It was a fun, lighthearted take on a zombie apocalypse, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Actually, I should go watch that again. I feel like I'm going to. I'll check back in after I see it again. Man, it's been ages, but that movie's great, and I cannot wait for the follow-up. And I think that'll do it for the show this week. I hope you all enjoyed listening to it, because this had been a blast to record. If you did enjoy it, I would love if you could help us out by giving us a rating on your favorite podcast app. Wherever you listen to this podcast, let others know about it. Oh my gosh, that helps out. It's a great free way to help out the show. Spread the word. Of course, everybody does a great job spreading the word on Twitter, through Facebook, their TA friend feeds, and the word of mouth, of course. It's just great, and we cannot thank you enough. Big, huge thank you to the X1 Bros for last week. They made a mention of our show on theirs, and so any of you X1 Bros listeners who stuck around for a bonus show, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We hope that you enjoyed the content we provided. We'll continue to do this as best we can moving forward. You guys got a great community over there, and hopefully we can find some commonality between our two communities. I know there's been some fun back and forth banter, and it would be fun to get some inter-community challenges going. So whether or not, everyone brush up on your Rocket League. I feel like that is going to be the great decider between the podcasts. As far as seeing stuff for our show, one of the best places is our website, zed2zed.com. There you can find all of our show notes. We got credits and links to all the things that we talk about on the show. That's zed2zed.com, ZEDTOZED. Of course, Twitter. We use Twitter all the time. If you guys don't, I totally understand. I was super hesitant to begin with, but I'm a huge Twitter fan now, and our handle at Zed. Email, if you prefer that. I don't want to say old school, because I think old school is pen and paper, but this is getting to be old school. But email is contact@zed.com. There's that leaderboard we still have set up over at TrueAchievements.com. That's a great place for us to email the community, send a private message to all of your TA inboxes, which we use so frequently for boosting sessions and everything. But using that leaderboard, we can make announcements for contests. If there's another leaderboard that we need you to join up so we can scan your data and get you into one of the contests, who knows? There's always interesting things that we've got going on behind the scenes, and we'd love to get you involved. I cannot thank enough all of the sites that actually make this show possible. We use Libsyn, Discord, Trello, Twitter, Discourse, and Zencastr. You guys are fantastic, providing the tools that help make this show a reality. And I want to shout out to all of the sites that help us and the games media outlets that we use. You guys really make achievement hunting a reality and so much fun to pursue. TrueAchievements.com, of course, Game Informer, This Week Time Magazine, Bungie, Engadget, Adult Swim Games, The Behemoth, Ubisoft, IXM, or ICXM, and IGN, and all of you other dedicated achievement sites out there, and anyone we failed to mention. Last but not least, we got to thank Microsoft for giving us this Xbox console and so much fun games to play. So, this week, on behalf of Proulx, Crandy, Damien, I've been Brandon, and to all of you achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies out there, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next episode.
It's just not the same when it's scripted.
What's that? Outtakes?
Yeah.
What do you mean when it's scripted? What the hell's scripted about it?
Nothing. Let me throw these notes away.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm bringing Warren because Damien's having a baby. So
My wife is having a baby.
Warren.
I was just going to ask about that. That's pretty impressive.
Does you love that when people are like, we're pregnant? Really? You're carrying it in you? That's fucking amazing.
What do you switch off every other day or what?
Actually, have you ever tried to sleep in one of those chairs in the hospital? Men are sometimes the unsung heroes there.
Do not mention that to your wife.
Tarragon cuts here, so this isn't publicly aired. Anyway, we can get back on the show now that I've derailed it. That is going to get cut because people don't know where I live.
There you go.
Big L. See, now you can poke Big L and be like, oh, I know where I am.
Yeah. I'll never tell a soul.
Yeah.
Or Windows 96 or whatever.
That's true. Windows 96. Best Windows. Out of context, Windows 96.
Yeah.
Finally, the last announcement that I absolutely just love.
Oh, all right. Damien's going to take off here, right?
I'm out of here, ladies.
Okay. We're going to say goodbye to Damien.
You're not going to stick around for this, huh? All right.
Wait. Is it real? Okay. It's going to be quick.
Well, who
We
knows?
don't have to, but it's one of my favorite games of all time. And I forgot to put this on my top 7 list.
Oh, yeah. You're going to want to stick around for this.
Okay.
Toe Jam and Earl is coming back.